Hello, everybody. Welcome. Episode number 11 of Sit Down Marks. I want to thank my co-host for being here with me tonight. First of all, the guy up in that corner, Mr. Texas Rattlesnake himself, now residing on the East Coast, Mr. SDM champ himself, one of my co-hosts, Primo Silver Fox.
Always thank you, everybody. Episode 11. How far we've come so fast. Let's do it.
Absolutely. All right. Next up, my other co-host. Couldn't do it without both of these guys, man. But this guy is from more around my neck of woods, the mean streets of Chicago. Like the meaner ones than the Road Warriors came from. Like way meaner than that. Everybody welcome AJ to the show.
From straight out of your mama's kitchen. Here I am.
All right, I want to welcome everybody for coming to the show today. We're going to talk a little bit about a lot of wrestling. So we're going to recap to the week in wrestling. But first of all, I want to thank everybody on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and now Sportinarium.com online radio. We thank those guys and all you guys for letting us talk to you about wrestling each week. Thank you for downloading and subscribing, man. We are so appreciative. We're having a blast, and we thank everybody. You there listening right now. Yeah, you.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it, man. Thank all of you guys. So, all right, a couple things too. The sound alerts are going to be on. I'm dropping some brand new emotes right now on you guys. So I want you guys to all go check those out. I'm going to drop here a couple. Got a little Team Dirty, a little truck action. So have fun with those if you are subscribed and check those out, man. So those will be fun. So got those on. Let's talk about a little wrestling here. But first of all, I want to thank our sponsors, Rowdy Energy. What's everybody drinking today?
Let's see. You know I got me a couple Primo Wisers, some Rowdies themselves. I got double here, double fisting them. I got sour green apple. I got strawberry lemonade. We're going to hit them hard tonight with all this wrestling information. Let's get it, boys.
How many Rowdies have you already had? Primo. I have the best Rowdy cherry lemonade.
Cherry lemonade, yeah.
I found a 6-pack down here and was super excited, so I bought it, and it's like crack. Only, it's like crack.
Tastier, but tastier. Yeah. That's what you're trying to say. I got some chiseled ice. My second favorite flavor there, man. This one's so delicious. So
I still want to know what that one tastes like.
Yeah, they got them there, and this is another one of the keto kind, man. So
yeah, man.
It's like an iceberg punch you in the face.
That's so we called Jerry the Titanic then.
That's pretty good. So, by the way, how about this Ravishing Rick Rude shirt I'm holding? I've got.
Okay,
how sweet is that?
That is amazing.
That you had that shirt. Yeah, I was going to get mad when you wore it because I can't steal it from you because you're 3 times the size of me. Like
it would be a nightgown. Yes.
Yes, it would. But I might risk that just so I could have a Ravishing Rick Rude T-shirt.
You know what? You could steal it from me and slice it right down the middle, and it would be the super sweetest robe ever.
You just tie it up in the middle right
here? Yeah. So
I'm not about doing that.
Right. I'll watch my back next time I'm around you. Got my eye on you, kid. All right, so, but yeah, thanks everybody for listening, man. This is going to be a fun one tonight. So, also, our main sponsor, Coastland Apparel. Make sure you go to coastlandapparel.com. Use that promo code BirdTV for 15% off. AJ's got the shirt on. Primo is rocking both hat and shirt tonight.
New shirt.
Look at that new shirt, man. That thing is sweet.
Yes, sir.
Man, that is nice. But thank you so much to Coastland Apparel. I'm rocking the hat as usual, man. About to get me some new Coastland here pretty soon.
What's that promo code again?
Promo code BIRDTV, Bird TV at coastlandapparel.com. So go check those guys out. By buying something from them, you are supporting a small company, and you're also supporting us here at the stream. So we appreciate anything you could to do there for us. So, and once again, thanks to Coastland. All right, guys. So on the show today, we're going to talk about our recap of the week, our top 5 managers and valets, which I'm interested in probably more than anything so far. I think we might be a lot across the board here, but in the same in some ways, because we all watch different eras of wrestling. So, well, let's get this show kicked off, Primo. What do you say, brother, as you take a sip of that sweet, sweet, rowdy energy? Here we go, man. Wrestler birthdays and just stuff that happened in wrestling today.
This day in wrestling history, May 26, 1987, 2 years before your boy was born, the Rock and Roll Express are awarded the NWA Tag Team Championship. Now, it's not just any time, okay? This time was particularly different because the guy on your shirt, Rick Rude himself, had just left. Him and Manny Fernandez had just departed Jim Crockett and WCCW. So therefore, and they were the reigning tag team champions. What they did was the NWA aired a previous match, and when the Express was going up against Manny and Ivan Koloff, they covered it up by saying that at the time Rick Rude was injured. But really, he had departed the company. They needed to slap the belts on somebody else. Rock and Roll Express got them, and that's how they did it. It was a phantom title change, 1987.
Wow.
I love
Was there a phantom place that the change happened?
I can't.
I don't remember that one.
No.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay. Another 1987.
Wrestling for you right there.
Couple of bad dudes here. The Iron Sheik and Hacksaw.
Sheiky baby. I like how you guys
Duggan.
do the Jim Duggan, and I do the Sheiky baby.
I humble you. I will humble you.
Arrested and charged with drug possession after they got pulled over riding together. The funny part about this is they were feuding, and this is when kayfabe was super alive. They were feuding.
Kayfabe.
Right, and so they got pulled over and charged together.
Yep, that was a big deal.
Let me tell you, Gene Mean.
Yeah, that's always one of the road wrestling stories. Yep. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Love Hacksaw, the 2x4.
All-American wife baby face right there, man. All day.
1996. Let's move forward about 9 years. Did I do my math right? I did. WWF they had In Your House 8, Beware of Dog. Interesting title. I know. This event it's notable because at the time they had a large home viewing audience. It was like 147,000 viewers at home, and however many were in attendance there live. What happened was there was a severe storm which knocked out the entire pay-per-view, and the at-home audience was only able to view the main event. This caused them to create a night 2, and just to satisfy the home audience, and it was also the last WWF event that was held at the North Charleston Coliseum in South Carolina.
What was it called? Beware of Dog?
Beware of Dog.
Not Beware of the Dog, just Beware of Dog.
Dog.
I like it.
It could have been Beware of the Dog. You know, I might have a typo.
I'm going to go with Beware of Dog.
Beware of Dog. Moving on. So that's our three things in wrestling history today that were of interest to me. Wrestling birthdays on today. We have 1979. I don't know if y'all remember her or not. I sure do. Ashley Massaro.
Oh, yeah.
I do remember Ashley Massaro.
Diva Search winner, something like that.
She was definitely in there. She's definitely in there.
Tough enough, something like that. Yeah.
One of those.
Yeah.
Good looking blonde.
Wrestling got exposed.
Another beautiful blonde, 1982. Natalia, current women's tag champ.
I don't want to talk about Natalia.
You don't? Well, I have to later on in this.
Yeah, and you're going to talk about Nia too. And if you're not nice, we'll talk about Billy Gunn, pal. Hey, you're going to respect the name of Gunn, and you're going to spell it with 2 N's.
Two N's.
I believe it's pronounced Kip James.
Kip James.
Billy Gunn.
This is a kayfabe show.
1988, our final birthday. Original name you know him by, Dirty, is Babatunde, but now we know him as Commander Aziz.
Yeah, nice.
And that is
Babatunde.
May 26th in wrestling history. Thank you, everybody.
Well done.
Yeah, that was a huge story with Hacksaw and Sheik, man. That was big. Because the face riding with heels, and they found weed and drugs.
Right.
Wow,
Got into the cocaine a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of that booger sugar.
Right. We haven't even got to AEW and Rory Levin.
We haven't.
There's going to be a lot of crack references today. I'm just going to throw them in there randomly.
All right, so let's talk about today's show. First of all, anybody watching today, we got some brand new stickers made. How about those?
Yeah.
I'll check those out right there.
Beautiful.
Yeah, brand new sit-down marks, just like the logo you see on the screen. If you would like some of these, all you got to do is message me on Facebook, DB Broadcasting, right here on Twitter, on my page. Send me your name and address, and I will send you some of these free of charge. I do not ship anywhere outside of the United States, so lower 48 only. Let's keep it in the bubble, people.
Yeah, I mean, our listeners in Russia, Germany, and Belgium, sorry, guys.
Man, I would love to send stuff to you over there. I swear I would love to send stuff to you. It costs too much.
We'll see. Yeah.
Especially nowadays, yeah.
In the future, if our pod keeps blowing up in Europe, we'll get there.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, absolutely.
yes, we will.
Absolutely. All right, so once again, thank everybody for downloading and subscribing on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Sportinarium.com online radio. Primo, what time are we on Thursday night on Sportinarium.com online radio?
7:30. Correct. Right after their top attraction that they have on that radio show, which puts us in prime position. We are very honored to be on Sportinarium Radio. We are thankful, and we are going to keep grinding out and be on that radio show, radio platform as long as they'll have us.
Absolutely. Yes. We are on after the Thomas Bryce show. Thank those guys so much for bringing us on, man. We are happy to be on there, getting our pod out to everybody else. So we appreciate it so much. All right, so if you guys are ready, man, let's. Not a whole lot of wrestling's happened in the last week. We didn't have any pay-per-views, so this is strictly what has happened. What? Oh, I thought
just a normal weekly recap. It seems like it's not a lot whenever you don't have 15 pay-per-views to talk about.
Right, I know. It doesn't seem like a lot. Like, oh, we're just talking about. Okay, I'm like, all right, yeah. But watch, this will end up being the 3-hour pod today. So,
right. Dirk Diggler play the Macho Man sound alert. Thank you, Dirk.
Yeah, oh yeah, brother. All right, let's get this thing going. AJ, kick us off, man. AEW last Wednesday. What's up?
Dynamite for Wednesday, May 19th. So,
like dynamite.
The show is Christian Cage versus Matt Sydal. And right when I saw Christian Cage, I was like, please don't let Taz be on commentary. And of course, Taz is on commentary. He's garbage on. Oh. So, like, I have an example of why he's garbage. So, at one point, Christian is setting up Sydal on the top rope, and he's setting him up for a superplex, and Taz says, well, this might be a suplex right here. That was my Taz impression, by the way. It is spot on.
It was pretty. You nailed it.
Man, he's going to do a suplex. I don't know what voice that is, but it's like, yes, Taz, weren't you the suplex machine? Like, don't you know what a setup for a suplex machine is?
That's right.
And he will lock the Taz mission on you if you don't stop dissing him.
Little puggy fella. So the match is fine, but I couldn't concentrate on anything but Taz. I was like, you garbage. So the end of the match, I'm just going to skip to it, is Christian hits the kill switch for the win, and then after the match, Christian helps Sydal up, and you guys know how much I love the babyface show of respect, and that happened. Sydal, bows to Cage. They shake hands. They hug. Blah blah blah. And then Taz gets on screen, and I was like, "Yes, Taz is on screen. I get to figure out what he looks like this week." I love figuring out what Taz looks like. This week, Taz looks like a Russian nesting doll because his neck is like wider than his head, so he looks like one of these guys, like one of those guys right there. Only he's wearing like an FTW hat.
Yeah, that's
great. Get out of here, Taz. Anyways, so after the match, Ricky Starks comes out, and he's wearing a suit, and he forgot his shirt and socks, so he looks like a giant tool.
You're only a wrestler. You only get away with that being a wrestler. Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes.
Cameron Grimes to
the moon.
I feel like Cameron Grimes can do that, one, because of the $1 Million Man, and two, because he's Cameron Grimes. He can do what he pleases.
And he's got a hairy chest.
He does have a hairy chest. So Ricky Starks comes out, and Christian and AEW does this a lot. They'll do this like 3 times this show, where someone will come out, and then whoever's in the ring will face that way, and then in this case, Team Taz jumps in from behind for a beatdown.
Yeah, AEW's been very heavy on that lately.
They have done that so much. But it's never like I never roll my eyes at it.
Right? Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
But it was great because then Hangman Adam Page comes out, and he has his drink, and he makes Ricky Starks hold his drink like the jobber he is. So Ricky Starks is standing there holding Hangman Page's drink, and he gets in the ring for the save. Not a bad segment, not a bad match.
What jumped out to me in this was the suplex that Taz's son gave. I think it was. I can't remember who it was. It was nasty. Like it was a German, so he landed on his back, but he kind of like landed on his shoulder, like up against the ropes, like.
It was Seidel, I think.
It was Seidel. Yeah, Matt. It was Matt. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was kind of like, like one of those makes you draw up, like
pull a Randy Orton face.
Yeah.
So up next, there's a quick promo with the Varsity Blondes and Brian Pillman Jr., who I kept calling PBJ because in my notes I kept shortening it to BPJ, and then it just switched at some point. So now he's PBJ. He has a lot of work to do before he is anywhere close to his father. First of all, his hair isn't even really blonde. I mean, like the little fluffy mullet part kind of is, but like the top business part is like brown. So I don't even know why he's in the Hollywood Blondes.
Yeah, he's just got a little patch in the back, but.
A little.
He's still really green. He's only a couple, I would say less than 5 years into it. He is green as green. But if he can figure it out, man, this kid's got white meat babyface written all over him.
He does. As long as he just keeps growing the mullet, so the Kentucky waterfall continues to flow. It'd be a sad day if you cut that.
I'm next to water off with the Kentucky waterfall.
No, it must flow. Up next, we have a promo with Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley. And I love this promo because, first of all, they're taking on the Acclaimed this evening.
I love watching the Acclaimed come out every time. I do, man. I do. This one was good, too, man. This was good, too. Like when they ratted on Renee. Mox's, they're like, what? I forget what it said. Something, it related to orals.
We want to be on the podcast.
They're like, your girl's calling me about oral sessions. Something like that. She's in my mentions. He says she's in my mentions about oral sessions. And then the music cuts, and the other guy's like, what? She just wanted us to be on her podcast. And then Moxley gives that dude a stiff shot, man. Did y'all see that? It was hard, man.
He's like, go ahead, mention my wife again.
Right?
Who are you to mention my wife? Well, they kind of talk about that in their promo because they just make the Acclaimed look foolish. Eddie Kingston calls them a rapper, and the other one is a rapper's friend. Like, that is how he describes the Acclaimed, which was accurate.
I love that, man. Rap and skit come out and cut insults, man. I could watch that all day, man. I could
if it was
fun to me.
there were a couple of good lines. It's just I can't be bothered with it.
Yeah, it's just I love the little stingers. You know what I mean? Like who they take shots at. Like and they take her on the line of a PG show for sure, and the stuff that they make. Like my kid, if I had a kid, they ain't watching AEW right now. That's for sure.
Is it PG? Is AEW PG?
Allegedly, yeah. I mean, it ain't R-rated. I know that. I think so.
Also, Kingston and Moxley make
Here comes the money.
Super kick parties, which was also funny to me because they're like, "Do you do super kicks? I don't do super kicks. How does one get invited to a super kick party? Do you have to do super kicks to get invited to said party?"
I think you do.
I
you either have to deliver them or sell them. One of the
two. Selling super kicks like door to door.
Yeah,
old ladies opening the door, you just kick them in the face and wander away.
Yeah, I'm here for the super cake party. Okay. Are you a deliverer or a seller? I think I'm more of a seller kind of guy. Okay, cool.
Recipient.
Go here. To the right, please. To the right.
Recipient. This is your area over here in the foyer.
Yeah, right. And you go and you sit down with like 15 other sellers. Like the end of Beetlejuice when they're going in the doctor's
when they're in like the waiting room. Only this time it's Austin Gunn and Matt Seidel and Ricky Starks all sitting in the stupid waiting room.
Where are we going? What are we doing?
Up next,
Beetlejuice. What happened there?
It's a natural progression.
We found the rails and we jumped off.
Dude, all right.
Like, if you think about how much Billy Gunn sucks, it'll go right into Beetlejuice. It's a natural progression into those categories.
I'm sure.
I hate Billy Gunn so much. So, match time.
No, you're kidding.
So, Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley take on the Acclaimed, who are Max Caster and his non-rapping friend. Anthony Bowens is his name, but who cares? Right. He's the non-rapping friend. So, yeah, you already mentioned Moxley's stiff shot, which was hilarious to me.
Yeah.
And Eddie Kingston in the ring, like, I love Eddie Kingston, but he reminds me a lot of the Repo Man. Like, he has, like, kind of, like, the same look, and he, like, kind of shuffles his, like, belly around the ring and stuff. I think it's great. I love Eddie Kingston.
Eddie's looked like that for 20 years. I've been watching wrestling. He's looked the same, yeah.
Oh, I love it so
God,
much.
his promos are so fire.
They're great. Well, same thing with Moxley. Like, both of those guys should just never stop talking.
Yeah.
So in the basically nothing match, you know, it was only to make it so Kingston and Moxley hop the Acclaimed in the pecking order for the tag team championships, which is, I love that they rank them. I think that's fantastic. One of those things that AEW does that's just wonderful.
I like that too.
But the finish of the match is Kingston and Moxley hit a wheelbarrow paradigm shift for the 1-2-3.
Yep.
Not bad. Up next is a quick interview with Chris Jericho, and Dean Malenko is back there with him. And so Jericho says that, you know, he'll answer the Pinnacles Challenge, you know, later on in the show. You gotta wait. And then he looks at Malenko and is like, hey, you better get out of here, otherwise you're going to make the man of 1,000 holds mad. And he points to Malenko. And Malenko was like, I think you know a few more than me. And Jericho just goes, I've forgotten a few of them. That's another thing AEW does. That's great. They make like little references / jabs at their former jobs.
Yes.
This is great. Jericho as the man of 1,001 holds.
Yep.
We're just arm bar, arm drag. Still one of my favorite Jericho promos of all time.
Right.
So after that, we go back to the ring where Tony Schiavone is standing in the ring with Ethan Page and
Shavante.
And he's in the ring with Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky.
Yeah, my boy Ego getting some TV time.
Oh, I cannot get behind Scorpio Sky. I think he sucks. I do. I think he's awful. I think his promos are terrible.
Yeah, the wrestling is the best part about him, is wrestling.
So he runs down Sting, and he's like, I used to love you as a kid, but you're not the same man anymore. Scorpio Sky impression. And it's like, of course he's not. Sting is 30 years older than when you were a kid. Like, it's like saying, like, oh, my grandpa isn't as, good of a wrestler as he used to be when he was 20. It's like, get out of here, Scorpio Sky. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. He's not the same. He's old. Yeah, people age.
Yeah. Your heroes, they grow up, they get old.
I can't handle Scorpio Sky. Like, there aren't too many people in AEW where I just groan when they come on the screen. He's definitely one of them. Ethan Page does a bit better. He takes credit for Darby Allin's loss against Miro last 2 weeks ago, and which I thought was kind of a funny thing to say, a good heelish thing to say.
Yeah.
But then the lights go out and Sting's music hits, and Sting comes out onto the ramp, and then shades of not 15 minutes before this, Darby Allin comes in from behind and starts beating him down with a skateboard, and a match is announced. We'll get to that later, and I'm terrified.
Same.
So, just absolutely terrified about that match. We'll get into that. So, up next, the Pinnacle are having dinner in what looks like a lovely restaurant. MJF is still wearing his stupid scarf. I love it so much. So Dax Harwood, every time he talks now, I'm a fan of it. I think they need to let him talk more, because he cuts a promo about how the Pinnacle, they should be going for all the belts. Like, that's what they're there to do. Instead, they just have to deal with the Inner Circle all the time, which he's absolutely right. Like, the Pinnacle are all great, and all they do is have to deal with the Inner Circle all the time. So I thought it was a really good point.
It's like Hatfields and McCoys. They just constant battle.
They will, yes.
Over.
But they always do.
Never ending feud.
One of them slams the waiter's head down onto the table at one point. I can't remember which one it was. One of them at the nice dinner ruined the dinner. Anyways, up next is always ruining nice dinner, getting wine on MJF's scarf. I want one of those scarves, by the way. Like, what is that? Like a Burberry scarf or something? I want one of those, just so I can wear it during the show.
I can find it at your local thrift shop.
Burberry scarf?
Yeah, the Burberry scarf, yeah.
So, up next, we have Rebel Not Reba.
Right.
Versus Hikaru Shida for the AEW Women's Championship. Forgot that part. At one point, Shida puts a glove on over her glove, and I laughed way more than I should have, because the image of her, like, because she has gloves on, like ring gloves, and she takes out like one of Britt Baker's gloves and puts it on her glove. I'm like, what are you doing? You can't wear two gloves. You look like OJ. So the match, it's not much to it. At one point, Rebel Not Reba, I don't know why I keep saying that, hits Cheetah with a crutch, but she kind of no-sells, and then taps out Rebel in her, I can't remember what the move is called, the Cheetah crunch. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
So then, of course, after Rebel taps out, Britt Baker hits the ring and hits a curb stomp onto the championship belt on Cheetah, which I thought was a great spot.
Good spot. I like that too. Yeah.
I'm still not entirely sold on Britt Baker, but I did really love that spot. Very, very cool visual.
I'm just sold on her because I think she's the best woman heel in AEW. So I think she's the nastiest they got right now.
I do agree with that.
Like I talked about before, like I feel like she kind of fell into this role because of the blood, nose broken, and then her tooth knocked, whatever, and just a lot of blood.
She might be the best women's heel period right now.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you think so?
I mean, I don't know.
The only one that could compete right now is Charlotte.
Charlotte, yeah.
But she's not doing the nasty things that Britt's doing. I mean, she's doing underhanded heel tactics, but...
Sure.
You forgot about Nia Jax, I think.
Oh, you're right. She wins. You're right. My bad. Nia Jax for sure.
She's on like 8 wrestling shows a week.
This is true.
Her?
We're about to start seeing her more. Looks like.
No.
Acknowledge her.
So, up next is
coming to Primo's chest next week. Acknowledge Nia.
Just tape. Nia.
Put like a little like Impact Wrestling sticker.
Yeah.
Acknowledge Nia. So, up next is another backstage segment. It's taped after the match where Orange Cassidy got injured, and Omega goes back to the little medical area with Don Callis, and Omega wants Orange Cassidy to be the AEW mascot, which I thought was a pretty funny line. And then Don Callis offers him a contract to put off the title match that he has coming up at Double or Nothing at a time, later down the road when he's feeling better. And Orange Cassidy just kind of like stares at the camera and then takes the contract and with like this bored look on his face and just like slowly rips it up.
Yeah. Like, oh, just go ahead and sign it. It's just, it's like nothing.
Yeah, you don't have to read it.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy's just...
Wherever.
Yeah. We can wrestle wherever.
Whenever. So then Don Callis gives him a second contract before they leave.
Did you guys see the clip of Chucky and Orange at the Philadelphia 76ers game?
No, I did not. What happened?
I think what happened was they thought Chucky was Orange, so they put the camera on him, and Chucky was like... and Orange is like kind of like next to him, like going... like kind of like shaking his head. I think it was something along those lines. There's these two people like dancing next to him at the 76ers game, and so they like pan off to him. Chucky, he's a big 76ers fan. He's always wearing 76ers jerseys, so they like went to him. I think they introduced him as Orange, and he was just kind of like, yeah, he's doing the thing, So it was pretty funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Orange is like, screw me, right?
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
So up next is the Inner Circle's response to the Stadium Stampede Challenge issued by the Pineapple. And they plug Jericho's A Little Bit of the Bubbly, which I immediately ordered, which comes in 2 bottles. So one of you is getting a bottle of Chris Jericho's Little Bit of the Bubbly. I'm not sure. I just like saying a little bit of the bubbly.
A little bit of the bubbly.
A little bit of the bubbly.
I think that's one of my sound alerts. I'm pretty sure it is.
Is it really?
Yeah. It's one of the more expensive ones, I think. I could be wrong. Yeah, I could probably.
I mean, it is the bubbly. It has to be. Expensive.
Yeah. It's got to be. Yeah, if it's Jericho, it's got to be. One of the best ones on there.
I don't know. They sprayed a lot of it with a hose last week at the Pinnacle. It wasn't water. It was a little bit of the bubbly.
Yeah.
So they're in the ring, and Ortiz talks. Meh. It's fine. Sammy Guevara talks.
Yeah, they all go down the lines. Yeah.
Jake Hager. But then Jericho gets on the mic and...
Double or nothing. We're taking you out.
He does Jericho things. It's great. Talking about how is it worth it to, be put through so much pain, and was it worth it for his family to be traumatized by him getting thrown off a cage, blah, blah, blah. And Jericho's like, yeah, if I get my revenge, it's absolutely worth it. So I thought that was pretty cool. So up next, we have another match, finally, after all those segments, promos, what have yous. It's Red Velvet versus Serena Deeb for the NWA Women's Championship. Mm-hmm. And Red Velvet is, of course, from Straight Out of Your Mama's Kitchen.
Right. Yes.
As am I from now on.
Right.
So,
is that your new moniker? Is that
is my
introduce you now?
Straight Out of Your Mama's Kitchen.
Hailing from Your Mama's Kitchen.
All right, that's it. No more main streets of Chicago.
AJ, your turn.
Straight out of your mama's kitchen.
Straight out of your mama's kitchen. That's it.
I love it. It's
All
such nonsense.
It is.
Why would you be from my mama's kitchen? Pretty sure I don't remember you living there.
Like, are you biscuits or like?
Yeah. What's your story, Red Velvet? I don't remember you being. Are you
right? Right. You look at me funny, there. Broccoli. This is off the rails.
So the thing about Billy Gunn,
you don't even make broccoli in the kitchen. That's the worst part about it.
Wait, where do you make broccoli?
Yeah, you grow it. I don't know why I said broccoli. I was just thinking making.
I mean, you steam broccoli in the kitchen. I steamed some yesterday.
Yeah, I should have said like pancakes or something. I don't know.
I've never actually made broccoli or pancakes ever in the history of ever. I'm not much of a cook. Yeah,
you haven't
made pancakes. I know this. I used to work with you. I know this.
No, I've eaten pancakes. I've microwaved some like Eggo pancakes. Does that count as like fixing?
They go in the toaster.
Sure.
Yeah, I've done that. Those are great. But I've never like gotten out like a skillet and been like, hey, I'm gonna whip up some pancakes. I don't know how to whip up pancakes or anything for that matter.
Me and my championship are disappointed.
Rightfully so. I'm an adult that can't make anything except cereal.
You're not out of my mom's kitchen, that's for sure.
Mama would be like, sir, get out of my kitchen.
Straight out of your mama's kitchen, but not your mama's kitchen.
Never your mama's kitchen. My mama was like, get out of the kitchen.
That's right up there with Parts Unknown now.
Yes, or the deepest, darkest corner of his mind.
Death Valley, Parts Unknown, your mama's kitchen.
It was Black Rain was from the deepest, darkest parts of his... That's so stupid.
Of his mind.
Get out of here, Vince Russo. I almost cussed, but
my favorite is Sammy Callahan when he gets introduced on the indie scene. He's introduced as he's from the last trailer on the left.
Seems like a very Heath
Slater kind of thing. Like I feel like that's fitting for wrestling.
Yeah, it is, man. Yeah, from the last trailer on the left. Yeah, man. I used to love that. That was great.
That's where Heath Slater's from too. So I met Heath Slater and I pulled like an Orange Cassidy at the 76ers game with him. I didn't recognize him. I didn't know it was Heath Slater. I just thought he was like Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman's trainer. So I didn't even acknowledge that he was the thing at all. Like the whole time, like everyone's getting pictures of like Braun and Bray, and there's Heath Slater just kind of like moping in the background. And
he's got kids, you know.
He does.
He has kids.
He's got kids.
He wasn't charging for the photo.
Of you. Oh, he wasn't.
3MB, baby.
You know, I'm okay with not acknowledging Heath Slater.
Are you an honorary member of 3MB now? Is it 4MB because of you?
Maybe it is. I don't want to talk about it. Okay.
Is it 3MB and a half?
Yeah. I replaced
Undead Lumberjack in the chat. Undead Lumberjack says 7. You know 7 Gold Dust. Yeah, 7 was from the outside of a child's bedroom.
Oh my gosh! I'm dead. Oh my god, that did not age well, did it?
Not at all. That's terrible.
Oh my god, I totally forgot about that, man. Yeah,
I did too. Like, didn't the kid's eyes go black or something? Like the kid was like, "Oh, I'm about to get diddled, so my eyes are going to go black."
Where did they say the boogeyman was from? Where did they say he was from?
I'm the boogeyman.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get you.
Where?
I don't know. Somewhere you get worms from, apparently.
Right, by the abundance.
Yeah.
From your mama's kitchen.
From your mama's kitchen, right next to Worms R Us.
Yep.
That's what they make in your mama's kitchen.
Oh, wow.
I don't even know where we are right now. We are in... Oh, we're talking about AEW. Okay, so Red Velvet versus Serena Deeb. Let's get these notes out here. Serious business time. So, Red Velvet hits a moonsault with her face. Don't know if that was a botch, but it was a botch. Mm-hmm. She seriously hit Serena Deeb with a moonsault with her face. That's like That must be the hardest part of Red Velvet, because they're with the face. So this match was actually it was actually a really good match. I liked these two working together a lot. The crowd were super into it. They started chanting, "This is awesome," which I kind of agreed. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
And so there was the ending was kind of weird. Like Serena Deeb put Red Velvet in the Serenity Lock, and like had her in the middle of the ring. You know, after she bashes her knee on the ground a bunch of times, which looked like it hurt. And then she just broke the hold for no reason. Like she had her in the middle of the ring in the hold, and then she's like, "Nah, I'm gonna break it for a second and then reapply it." It was like, what are you doing? Stop doing that. Just make her tap. She's gonna tap. Just make her tap.
Right.
Apart from that, though, the match was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good too. It was better than I expected, anyway.
Is Serena Deeb a heel? Or is she a face?
I think she's a face because she won the title from heel Thunder Rosa.
That's right. And then Red Velvet is whatever she wants to be because she's from My Mama's Kitchen.
Yep.
So up next we have a promo with it's the actual match. It's Anthony Ogogo versus Austin Gunn with 2 N's. Guess who I want to win this match?
If you're not done with that, I got 2 words for you.
So when I was watching this, I was like, am I going to hate Austin Gunn as much as I hate Billy Gunn? And the answer is no.
It wasn't.
I don't. Austin Gunn, he had a lot of babyface fire, and he got some moves in on Anthony Ogogo. I mean, Ogogo didn't sell them, but he definitely got his digs in.
Sure.
But then Ogogo hits 2 bread baskets.
So give him a 2-piece.
And then he was like, "Yeah, that's not enough." And okay, so they're claiming that. So Austin Gunn starts bleeding from the mouth. And it's like, so are you saying that he has internal injuries right now? Like he's bleeding internally from Ogogo's breadbasket punches?
Right.
It was weird. It was a weird way to sell it. And then Ogogo was like, "Wait, that's not enough, mate." That was British and awful. So he like gives him a pop-up breadbasket punch, and that'll do it for babyface Austin Gunn, who I do not hate nearly as much as Kip James.
Did you see the headbutt there at the end? That's how Go-Go, right there at the end when Austin popped up, they collided heads, and because right there after he hits him in the breadbasket, he drops. He's kind of sitting there looking at him. He's wiping from his face. He took like an inadvertent headbutt there at the very end of the match. Yeah, it was quick. Like you had been watching maybe 3 or 4 seconds to see what happened, but it happened. They dropped. They showed Go-Go, and it started trickling down his face. He wiped it off, and then they went. Yeah.
See, I thought that was from the blood packet in Austin Gunn's mouth that he had, and I thought he just spit it at a Go-Go. I didn't see a headbutt.
Well, I seen a headbutt. I don't know which one they did, but I thought it kind of looked. I mean, shoot, they might have worked me. I thought it was possibly a real headbutt.
Yes,
I got
marked. Up next, where are we?
Is the bread basket from your mom's kitchen?
You know it's from my mama's kitchen.
Had to ask.
Yeah, carry all them biscuits. Bread basket.
Bread basket, yeah.
She puts the biscuits in the biscuit hamper. What is a biscuit hamper?
My bread basket area does look like a can of biscuits, so.
A bread basket's like a wooden thing you hold your bread in that you make at home. It's not like you go buy them at the shelf.
No, it's like a hutch for your bread.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it has like the little lid on. By the way, I'm changing Ogogo's little belly punch from bread basket to biscuit case now. So. It is now the biscuit case.
Right in the biscuit eater.
Right in the old biscuit eater. So after that match, we go backstage, and it looks like Christopher Daniels whispers something to Frankie Kazarian, and I think they're playing it off like he's going to retire. Which Christopher Daniels has been wrestling for 90 years, so
Sure.
it'd be cool. Like, I would like to see him go, actually have some sort of send off in AEW though. But still, that's what I think they're going for. And then after that, Frankie Kazarian says he is coming for all the members of the Elite and uses the word recompense, which me being the nerd that I am marked out a little bit. Like, recompense. It's like saying whippersnapper or balderdash or something like that. It's just very old timey. I loved it.
Gotcha.
Because I'm a nerd, you see. So after that, they did this weird picture thing where they cut the commercial, but then Sammy Guevara comes out and he's holding cue cards and he's dropping them like the stupid Love Actually movie, and I just skipped the whole thing. I was like, I don't care about this. Stop it. So up next is Miro, who thanks Jesus Christ for his victory over Darby Allin. Oh, he's so great. And then Lance Archer comes out.
Yeah, this is a great exchange. This is a great exchange. Miro lays the law right here. I love this, man. This was good. He rips on Murder Hawk. He rips on Jake twice. And then, this is good stuff. Go ahead. I love it. This is good.
Then, I love that Lance Archer calls himself the original beast of AEW, but he has the two little baby pigtails on top of his head. I'm like, how are you a beast with two little baby pigtails? Which made me laugh even more.
Right.
But I'm so digging what you're doing with Miro right now. They're finally pushing him to be this unstoppable monster. Love it.
Yep.
So main event time.
All right, hang on 1 second. My favorite line of the whole Miro thing. He looked at Jake the Snake and he said, "If you ever get close to me again," he goes, "there's no yoga in the world that's going to save you from what I'm going to do to you." Talking about DDP yoga. I love it. That was so such a good line. Yeah, he called Jake. He said something like, every time you come out here, you always bring the old man to hold you back, and then you can hear Jake go, "Old man," you can hear him, and then Miro kept talking this was a great promo. Probably his best one to date in AEW, I think. On Murder Hawk, it was so funny. And then a little bit again, and then a little bit later, just when Jake stops talking, he goes back. He's like, "Yeah, old man, like I said it. What are you gonna do about it?" And then that's what he said. "You come close to me. There's no yoga out there that's gonna save your life this time." Oh, it was great promo. Loved it.
I bet DDP was at home watching, going, "Yeah, bang."
Right. Plug it.
It's fantastic. A little bit.
Sorry, we had to bang.
You have to.
Side note. When me and AJ used to work at a restaurant together, he would come up sometimes and ask me for a Diet Dr. Pepper with DDP. So he'd come up and say, "Can I have a DDP?" Every time. Bang!
Every time.
Yeah. So after about me doing that probably 20 times, he's like, "All right, soda. I'm in the soda."
You want the thing?
Oh.
Okay.
I didn't even like DDP. I just liked ordering it. Or I just like being like, "Hey, can I have a DDP?"
Right before me and AJ would start our shift, I'd make him do Shield.
Shield. Back when Roman sucked. Before he was awesome. Either that or...
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We did that a lot too.
Bro. Sure did.
We had fun.
It was fun.
So we are finishing
main event.
AEW. Main event. Young Bucks versus the Varsity Blondes. Only one of which is blonde. for the AEW Tag Championship.
How about Nick's thing he wore on his head? That was
so great. Like the little thing with
the dangly things.
It's like it was like wearing a boa, but like on your head, like like in the front. They're heels, man. They're heels.
They are so great.
Yeah.
So they're taking on the Varsity Blondes. Only one of whom is actually blonde, and I was a little disappointed in this match. Anytime the Young Bucks are on, I expect it's going to be match of the night, which this just wasn't. And what's the other Varsity Blonde's name? The one who looks like a poodle.
The other one that with not Pillman Jr., but the other guy.
Yeah, the other one.
Blonde number 2.
Yes, Mr. Blonde number Pete. 2. Stinky Pete.
His name is Stinky Pete from here on out.
Sure.
Are
you looking?
There was a cool spot,
Primo,
where
no.
Nick Jackson. He does old school, Taker's old school, all the way across the ring.
Yes.
And at one point, he almost falls when he hits the other corner, and then he stomps on
Griff Garrison. I was about to say, is that not a wrestler's name? Griff Garrison. Put that up there with Biff Busick and
Duke the Dumpster Drosy.
Right, yeah.
He has a terrible look, by the way. Griff Garrison, sorry.
Peter Griffin.
He looks like if is that your first is that the first impression?
For Dirty Man, yeah.
I haven't did it yet today, I don't think.
Not yet.
No, you did one earlier. I just don't remember what it was.
Okay.
Griff Grifferson, he looks like if a group of 50-year-old ladies were going to go out in 1988 and have a girls' night, Griff Grifferson is how one of them would doll themselves up. I realize that is a completely weird reference, but that is what I pictured in my head. I'm like, that lady from 1988 is going to have herself a girls' night. Don't ask me where it came from. I don't know. Quit judging me. I'm going back in my mom's kitchen.
We did Hacksaw. Tim Duggan earlier.
Yes, Hacksaw. Thank you, Primo, for no-selling my nonsense that was coming out of my mouth. I appreciate that a lot because it was going nowhere. Good God.
Anyways, main event.
Main event. So, kind of disappointing match. Varsity Blondes, of course, lose, as everyone knew they would. And then to end the show, Moxley and Kingston, of course, come out for the beatdown. Overall, pretty solid episode of AEW. Not as good as last week, but last week was like a pay-per-view junior. So pretty good, though. Not bad.
Yeah, I think so, too. And, like I said, this wasn't the greatest match. They kind of want to do the spray spot, at the end with the chick that was coming out with the Varsity Blondes. But I don't know, kind of, put the Varsity Blondes over a little and, kind of expose them a little bit. The Bucks make them look good, but, so, it was okay. Yeah, got some work to do, but, it's for what it was, not too bad. All right, next up.
That's right. Johnny B. Yeah.
Impact for last Thursday. Impact Wrestling. We start off the show. Impact is on Access TV, channel 340 on DirecTV. I have no idea anything else. They start off right with the show with a graphic of Jerome Young, a.k.a. New Jack, rest in peace, 1963 to 2021, which would make him 57, 58 years old. So, any of you guys see New Jack wrestle in person ever?
No.
You did see him wrestle on TV, though. Pay-per-view, ECW. Yeah. One of those guys. Yeah, one of those guys. I mean, we've seen the dark side of the ring, so everybody kind of knows the backstory if you didn't know already. But it was one of those guys that you he got your attention when he came to the ring because he had that kind of background of being crazy. The same feeling when Nick Gage comes to the ring.
That's what I said that, watching both of their dark side of the rings, like those are two guys I would legitimately be scared to see in person.
Terrified. Right. I would be terrified. Yeah. Both of them.
Yeah. So, but rest in peace, New Jack. I did get to see him wrestle live one time at an ECW house show, and it was, I feel like it was him and somebody else against the Nasty Boys, and it was, probably in front of maybe less than 100 people, and these guys went at it. He walked out of there with a crimson face, and he lived up to his gimmick in the ring, and it was interesting to watch. And he had a lot of crazy battles, and so thank you to New Jack for entertaining us. All right, so let's get started with Impact. We start out with Rohit Raju versus Jake. What's my name?
Something!
All right, so these guys wrestle. The match starts breaking down. Shira is Rohit Raju's kind of man in the corner. He's kind of big, jacked up dude. So the match starts breaking down. He gets involved, and then there's a kind of a pretty good botch here. So they're going to do a table spot. They got the table up against the corner of the ring, and Shira's standing there. He's about to take the spike into the table. Well, something jumps too far back, and Shira misses the table off to the left. So something goes right into the table with his shoulder, kind of like right side of his body, and so they totally kind of miss. And
Shira slams into the ropes.
Yeah. It was a missed spot. He jumped too soon. It looked like Shira was in the right place, but it was like something, like he jumped too soon. But anyway, so it looks like they're going to start a little feud. Jake is going to be the Impact champ at some point. It's coming. It's coming. All right, next matchup, not a whole lot. Kiera Hogan versus Tennille Dashwood with Caleb, with a K. Interference happens. A couple girls run in from the locker room. Next thing you know, everybody's out in the locker room. Jessica Havoc comes out, kind of cleans house. She's on a little bit of a rampage right now. And then, interesting, Decay comes out with Black Taurus and all those other guys, and our Crazy Steve, Rosemary. They all come out and they're kind of applauding Jessica Havoc, and they're kind of standing there and they're like, yeah, and then so she's kind of smiling, laughing, kind of turning her head to the side. So it kind of looks like she's going to be joining Decay. So that's looks like they're kind of like recruiting her. So next matchup, Petey Williams versus VSK. This is Petey he's the original Canadian Destroyer. He's this was kind of a good match, man. It was really interesting. Petey wins with the Canadian Destroyer, and so that's how that one finishes up. So
I love Petey Williams.
I do too, man.
He's great. He's always been great. Even when he was like little Papa Pump, that's how I remember him.
Yes,
this dude he's like I don't know really how tall he is. He's always been in the X Division, but I'm sure he's probably my height or taller because I'm 5'9". But he has been shredded forever.
Yep.
His whole career.
Yeah, he has. Everybody always forgets he was standing right next to Scott Steiner when he did Steiner Math. Petey was standing right there with him, like that legendary body promo. Petey's standing right there with the chainmail thing on his head. Yeah, that's great, man. Yeah, I love Petey too, man. Best Canadian Destroyer in the business, no doubt.
Ever. Just ever.
All right, next up, some new feuds getting started here. Promo backstage with Rich Swann. He's calling out Morrissey, a.k.a. Big Cass. He can't just come in here and, take over shop, So, but anyway, so they kind of pan in the camera close on Rich Swann, and Morrissey gives him a huge boot, dude, like out of nowhere to the face. Knocks him out, so Morrissey kind of stands over him, holds his hand up, and so looks like they're going to start. SAWFT. Yeah, so
It's not even how that's spelled.
I actually watched this video the other day with the Skywalker Smack Talker on it.
Oh, yeah.
Is it where he just gets absolutely destroyed in the ring and has to get taken to the hospital?
No, he was just like shooting on like different promotions,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a lot of like videos out there like that where he shoots on people. All right, next up, promo backstage. That was it. We go, to more backstage. Swingers Palace Casino. Everybody's back there betting on each other and that kind of stuff. So nothing really going on. So, but
Johnny Swinger.
He's good.
He's good, but the laugh is so obnoxious every time. Like I'm just like it's obnoxiously annoying. But it does its job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I like when he says daddy. And he's like a cutback to the old, his gimmick is like the old circus wrestlers,
Right, like
the old
Carney.
Yeah. I love when he says Mizarks, too. He calls them Mizarks. Yeah. All right, next up. So, here we go. The meat of the show starts. Moose comes out. He's very serious. He's got a suit on from top to bottom. He cuts promo on Omega, tells him that he's the true wrestling god, blah, blah, blah. Well, Omega's music hits. We get in our first little face-to-face. So Omega comes down with Don Callis. They come out and they face off. Callis starts talking to Moose about he's never won anything in his life. And he goes, "You've never won anything in football," which he played for my Falcons, so of course he didn't win anything. And then... and then the funny thing was that he goes, Callis goes, "You was even in Ring of Honor, and you didn't even win a championship there." So that was kind of a low little stinger. Yeah. So and then so just continue to talk about he won no rings in football, no championships. What makes him think he's going to beat the best in the world, Omega? Blah 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 blah. So they act like they're going to start mixing it up a little bit, and then Gallows comes out, and looks like they're going to jump on Moose, and then a little bit of a swerve. They do some little tricky TV action, and it's like zzz, and it's black. Sami Callihan's logo comes up. Zzz. Sammy's back. He's all of a sudden standing in the middle of the ring with a baseball bat, clears everybody out, right?
He pulls like a Undertaker. The Fiends type.
Yeah. He's got like this. He's doing like this little hacker, which is funny because that was his gimmick when he was in NXT. In the very, very beginning. So anyway, he's doing So he shows up in the ring, runs everybody off, and then so it's kind of Moose and Sammy there, and then they go to commercial and come back from a commercial. It shows Sammy walking down the hallway, and Moose comes out to him and says, "Don't expect an apology from me." And Sammy's like, "No." He's like, "But whoever wins between you and Omega, I'm coming back for my title," basically. So next up, right before main event, Rachel Ellering and Jordan Grace. Backstory: they both just lost the tag team titles. So Scott D'Amore puts them against each other in a match. Rachel Ellering wins, and then they hug at the end of the match, and we'll see where that goes. All right, so main event. Interesting. Primo's boys, Finn Juice, against Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. All right, so this is for the tag team titles. Okay, so a little weirdness. Finn Juice wins and retains, but after the match, they're attacked by Violent by Design, which is Eric Young, Rhino, Joe Doring, which if you don't know Joe Doring, he's a big Texan-looking dude. He wears the old cowboy boots like Dusty and all those guys used to wear back in the day that look like boots. He's a big-time wrestler over in Japan. He's kind of known for tag teams, but he's been over there a long time. So anyway, so it's him and Rhino. They cashed in this Call Your Shot cup that they won at the pay-per-view, and then so they cashed that in like the Money in the Bank briefcase. Eric Young says, "We're calling our shot right now." Well, Finn Juice had just been through a big, long match, 20, 25 minutes or whatever. And so, anyway, so Rhino and Joe Doring are in a match with Thin Juice and Gore by Rhino, and Doring with he does like a big hard kind of Texan Bradshaw clothesline. Win the match.
Like the lariat.
Yep, and then brand new and new tag team champions. Impact tag team champions is how it goes off. Violent by Design on top. Gore, Joe Doring holding up the belts, and that's the end of Impact. They advertise. Let's see. What is it? I had it here. Oh, June the 12th is the next pay-per-view, Against All Odds. So that is Impact. So next up, we got a big, long run of SmackDown, Raw, and NXT. But before we get started, man, I want to thank everybody on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and now on Sportinarium.com online radio for subscribing, downloading the show. We thank everybody so much. I want to thank Rowdy as well. Rowdy Energy Drink powering us through the show here. Go to my Twitter page, Dirty Bird, with 2 eyes in the bird 33 over at Twitter, and get our use my link there to order yourself some Rowdy. Also to coastlandapparel.com, www.coastlandapparel.com. Use promo code BIRDTV, BIRD-TV. And thanks to our sponsors. So, all right, Primo, Friday Night SmackDown last week. Let's get started on that, man. What happened?
All right.
Get you a little drink.
Everybody, sit down, buckle up, because you're about to listen to the champ talk for a few minutes.
Oh, boy.
All right, SmackDown recap. Show opener. We opened the show up, so it was announced over the weekend, I believe, or it was actually prior to that, it was before Friday, that their live events, WWE live events, are going to start in July. Mm-hmm. So they opened the show with Sonya Deville in the ring, and all the champions on the stage, minus
Champions
Roman.
Parade is what they call it.
So correct. So they had a Champions Parade where she goes through, and well, first of all, she runs down the Mysterios.
Right.
Yes, she does.
Which is hilarious. And so basically, she goes through all the champions. It ends up towards the end there that she's like, in your Universal Champion Roman Reigns. Out comes Paul Heyman. He's like, first of all, relax there, Sonya. You're not gonna. We'll come to you out when we want to come out.
Right? Yeah.
So that never happened. Roman never came out, but a brawl between the women's champions and former women's champions plus Bayley did break out, which led into a 6-women tag team match. And that ended up being the first match of the night, and Shayna, Nia, and Bayley defeat Natalya, Tamina, and Bianca in the first match.
All right. Way to start out with a big heater there, boys.
Woo. Yeah. I mean,
get the Thunderdome going.
Yeah.
Girl. All right.
Yeah. So, then we have... This part actually had me laughing. So, King Corbin comes out. You remember last week, Shinsuke stole the crown, man. Yep. So, King Corbin comes out, and he's just like getting ready to do the match. And then they play this package of all the things that Shinsuke's been doing with the crown since the week prior. And it's like him... riding in his car and doing and everything. He has the crown on. He's having a good old time with this crown. And then afterwards, Corbin's like, I was just ready to have the match, but now I saw that, and I'm really ticked off now. So he starts talking about how it's disrespectful. He's not the real king. You may call yourself the king of strong style, but I'm King Corbin. He calls Shinsuke out, but instead of Shinsuke, we get this electric guitar-toting man named Rick Boogs, B-O-O-G-S. Rick Boogs comes out.
All right, yep.
Oh, my God.
Eric Bugenhagen. Eric Bugenhagen. That's where he got the Boogs from, because his name's Eric Bugenhagen. He's been in NXT for a while, kind of a flash in the pan. He had a small little, like I said, flash in the pan where he used to have this gimmick where he came to the ring and he played this air guitar, and he would just be like just be totally getting into it, like doing a solo, all kinds of stuff. But he's been on commercials lately. He's the Old Spice guy. Yeah, that's him. That's the same guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I thought I recognized him. You know.
Yep. There you go.
So
Eric Bugenhagen.
you have enough air guitar people between him and Cool Kyle O'Reilly and real guitar player Elias. So
you want to get over and play guitar?
And if we have Legends Night, you know, honky tonk. So
he couldn't play the guitar though. Like he was terrible. Like he was just moving his hips.
Yeah, he just moved his
hips. We might have. We'll replace that with Double J. So he comes. So Rick Boogs comes out. He introduces himself, and then he says he's about to rock out for the real king.
Yeah.
And he begins to play Shinsuke's intro as Shinsuke comes out. So he's out here.
I liked it, man.
He's ripping for Shinsuke's intro. And, you know, Shinsuke, he's all about, you know, being the artist and, you know, doing the whole thing. And so he was into it, you know. And that made it 10 times better.
Passing out. I love Shinsuke so much. I love it.
In the middle, so they end up having their match, Shinsuke and Corbin. But in the middle of the match, there was a distraction by Boogs where he stands on the announcer table, starts playing the music again, and which causes Shinsuke to win over Corbin. And then Rick Boogs plays him out as they leave.
So I have a problem with this match. So first of all, like I loved Rick Boogs playing Shinsuke's theme so much. I love Shinsuke so much. But he is like he's a world-renowned wrestler, like one of the best in the world. Why is he beating Baron Corbin with distraction finishes and roll-ups and stuff? I get angry. I mean, I love that Shinsuke's finally winning. Like maybe they're going to do something with him. Yeah. But just let him win clean. Like just put him over clean.
Yeah, he's like stuck in the. He's been stuck in like the comedy mid-card section.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's be honest, his biggest feat so far is probably winning the Rumble.
The Rumble,
I mean, and then that was kind of.
And then,
and then they were going to India, so he had to lose to Jinder Mahal, so they could have an Indian champion.
That's the modern day Maharaja. So relax.
We respect him.
Yeah.
I will not acknowledge him. No.
All right. So, I forgot that I wrote this in here. This is great. So after this, we come back from commercial, and Roman, they arrive out to the ring.
Tracksuit Roman.
That's exactly what I wrote down.
Tracksuit Roman.
I said, Roman comes out in a tracksuit, just like Big Cuz.
Yeah. Nothing says like business than a tracksuit, right?
I'm going
to kick your tail.
So just like Big Cuz the Rock, he comes out in a tracksuit. Roman, this was good. I did like this a lot. He said, Paul, because they weren't there for the Parade of Champions.
Sure.
Says, Paul, I'll allow you to celebrate me. And Paul's like, oh, you will? Oh my gosh. So he goes and he starts just freaking gushing over Roman and talking all the stuff. After Heyman celebrates Roman, Cesaro arrives, and they're just like, you know, the face Roman makes just like, this guy again? Like, what are you doing here?
Right, yeah.
But then Rollins attacks Cesaro, and that's how that whole scene finishes. Mm-hmm. Next up, we have Dominic defeating Robert Roode.
Yep.
All right.
No, not in a million years. It wouldn't.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That's not glorious. That is not glorious.
Not glorious.
That is not glorious. That was not beer money or whatever other
beer money.
Bobby has had.
Were you here for our tag team? Oh, heel pen.
See, I hear it started.
So our main event for SmackDown was Apollo in a Fatal 4-Way for IC Championship on the line against KO, Sami Zayn, and Big E. They had the match, but in the middle of the match, we had a return, my friends. We've been seeing the promo packages, the video packages for weeks now.
Yeah.
Aleister Black finally returned.
Yeah.
Love it.
Come back.
Love
Black Mass to Big E.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Dude, kicked his head clean off his shoulders.
Right. Wasn't he being held by somebody or something? Because he kind of leaned into it.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Apollo ends up winning and retaining his IC Championship, and that's how we end the show with that hype that Aleister Black has returned.
I don't think it was possible, but he definitely has more tattoos.
Yes, he does.
He looks a little slimmer.
Find more space.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, legs. Like I've noticed his legs first. You know.
He already had them like on his kneecaps.
Yeah. So he's going completely field, I think so. But man, I'm glad to see him back. I love the Black Mass. I love the entrance music. You know, I like all that, man.
You like his entrance comes up.
Oh yeah. I always kind of like that. Yeah. It goes along with the candles and the smoke and the music. You know?
Very Gangrel-ish.
Yeah.
It is very Gangrel.
Yeah. I'm gonna add that to the list at some point. We're gonna talk about entrances because the Gang of the Brood was one of my favorites, man. Yeah. I love that one. Yeah. All right, so that was SmackDown from last Friday. All right, so this past Monday, Monday Night Raw, just a couple days ago.
Writing this, so I watched this. Yesterday at like 11 o'clock at night. I was putting it off as long as I could.
Well, this is the thing, too, is I actually watched it this morning, right before there was the last one I had to make up because I watched NXT last night. So it kind of shows the pecking order of, I want to watch AEW first, and then I want to watch, and then I want to watch NXT probably, and then, you know what I mean? So the pecking order of watching so many good 2-hour shows, and then I get to Raw, I'm like, 3 hours, but I don't know. Like I saw a few little tidbits, which we'll go through. Primo talk that might be turning around. So hopefully,
I watch it.
Fans are going to help
chronologically, but that's only because I write notes as I do it.
Sure.
However, as we go on, Raw recap. The show opener, we have Mr. MVP in the ring, and he introduces the almighty WWE Champion Bobby Lashley to the ring. He arrives with, you know what, I was going to say this last week. I didn't know, and I'm not going to say it this week because we are a family-friendly show, but it's in reference to The Godfather. So... yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we know.
Yep.
It was very along those lines, though. That's what we always think now. When there's like an entourage of women following a wrestler, you're like,
exactly, and it's just because of The Godfather is ingrained in our brain.
Exactly.
The lady of the evening train.
Right. So Lashley and MVP talk about how they are done with Drew McIntyre. They're tired of him. He's a pest, and he won't go away. And you find yourself starting to agree with the heels a lot.
A little bit, yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I love Drew.
Me too.
But I love what happens. Actually, it happens next. I'm going to talk about it. Drew McIntyre comes out, surprise. He tells Lashley that he thinks that Lashley himself has not won clean over him yet. And he's like, face it, Lashley, you don't think that you can quite measure up to me because you haven't beat me clean yet. Out comes the New Day, and Kofi says, let's not forget that last week he pinned the champ.
Yep.
He then tells Drew that he did not need nor did he want his help. And he says, sir, you need to step aside after rematch, after rematch, after rematch, after rematch, after rematch.
Yeah.
So get your behind to the back of the line.
It's very accurate. It's very accurate.
Yes, it is.
They've wrestled 10 times since Mania.
Which, that's why we're growing tired of this specific. So, Adam Pearce interrupts, says this is going to be solved by Kofi and Drew having a match where the winner will face Lashley at Hell in a Cell for the championship. Mm-hmm. Kofi and McIntyre end up having their match, but it ends in interruption by both MVP and Lashley attacking Kofi and McIntyre at the same exact time.
No.
But Bobby Lashley ends up getting hit with some Trouble in Paradise and a Claymore kick. So, we'll learn more about what happens with that later on. Coming up backstage, we have a segment where Charlotte's talking to Rhea Ripley, but up comes, they're doing their same old exchange back and forth. Up comes Nikki Cross, looks so small next to them.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's because they're both very tall women.
Yeah.
So,
and Alexa's about the same size, I think.
Right. And they were hanging out together a lot so that, you forget.
Yeah, you didn't notice when they're sitting in chairs holding coffee.
Right. So anyway, she's talking about how she'd like a match, and Charlotte's basically like, well, I'm not wasting my time with you. I got the match with Asuka, and but if I did, I'd beat you in under 2 minutes. And Rhea's like, says something to Charlotte like, this is what you do, you always talk down to people, and Charlotte coaxes her into it and says, well, why don't you go out there and do it then?
Yeah.
So, we end up having a match with them later on, which ends up being, we call it, beat the clock challenge, 2 minutes or less with Rhea and Nikki Cross. Rhea gets kind of, at first she's being real cocky with it, so this is where she's supposed to be a heel champ, but Charlotte's a better heel than she is.
Yes,
so it's like Rhea is a heel sometimes. And anyway, in the ring, she's doing this whole checking her watch thing, looking at the clock. Like, I got all day. We could wait till basically 45 seconds before I decide to go in on you. And she's doing that for a while, and then they actually start exchanging. Rhea gets. She loses track of time and ends up losing to Nikki Cross, at which time Charlotte Flair comes out, and she's laughing at Rhea Ripley. I loved it, though, because she gets to the floor outside the ring, and Nikki Cross is just like, she won. She's so excited, and Charlotte's like, she's like, get away from me. She's like, get out of here.
I don't need no fans.
She's like, you're too close. You're too close.
Cross.
Nikki Dane.
And that right there, makes Charlotte a better heel. So, backstage, we get the news for the Kofi and Drew match because they're upset. There wasn't a definite finish to the match, so there wasn't a result of who's going to face Lashley at Hell in a Cell. Right. So he says, this coming Monday, there will be a rematch between Kofi and Drew, and the winner will face Lashley at Hell in a Cell, and not only that, he talks to Lashley and MVP later in the night and tells them that if they interfere in the rematch next week, then they will be suspended without pay for 90 days at least.
Ooh.
And then he tells Lashley, he says, you look like you can afford it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'll take 90 days off.
Yeah.
Why not?
So we have Charlotte Flair defeating Asuka.
It's such a wrestling, what's the word I'm looking for? You're suspended for 90 days, and then somebody gets suspended and makes a big return.
Oh, yeah.
Or they come back as... What did Hogan? Hogan got suspended, and then he came back as
Mr. America.
Mr. America.
He's like, I'm not Hulk Hogan, brother. He's just like, Mr. America is just like, doing the whole thing.
It's like I think the minerals and the treasure. It's you.
Oh, did he ever get unmasked? I don't remember if he did or not. But when he did, they were like, we just knew it was him the whole time. Yeah, that was the whole thing.
I feel like Hulk got reinstated, so it
was like a thing that it was like a secret between the fans and Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
It was like, shh.
Wrestling.
Yeah, I love wrestling.
So next up we had another match between Shelton and Cedric Alexander, except Shelton's in the ring first. Cedric comes out with his annoying voice and talks for like 5 minutes, I swear.
Yeah. The worst voice ever.
At first I was like, why does he sound like Chris Rock? But then he started getting even worse. He has a real grovelly, hoarse, high-pitched voice.
Yeah.
And he's just...
He sounds like a dinosaur.
Yeah. He just talks about, they didn't kick both of them out. They kicked Shelton out, and Cedric was just collateral damage, basically, is what it came down to. And Shelton's aged, whatever. So he ends up beating Shelton Benjamin, and that's so now they're 1-1 now. So clearly they'll have a third match.
Big blow off a hell of a sale, boys.
Yeah,
pre-show.
big blow off. Yeah.
On the pre-show,
the kickoff. This one right here. And I actually saw I don't remember if it was a tweet or just a message from Randy Orton later about this. But so Matt Riddle, original bro himself, has a match with Xavier Woods, and he ends up. They have a good match, and after a couple good close pinfalls, he decides to hit him with an RKO out of nowhere. Gets the 1-2-3, and then gets on the ropes, does the Randy Orton pose. Then as he's walking down, he's like, "This is for you, Randy. This is for you, bro."
Good stuff.
I saw this. I saw I don't know if it's probably Randy Orton, just working, but he was like, "Don't steal my crap." Basically, was what he said.
Yeah.
Because people would if they weren't partners, and if they weren't doing the whole like Matt Riddle's under the loading tree idolizing Randy Orton thing, then it would be a problem.
Right. Yeah. Right. It would be.
But at the end of the day, RKO, you got freaking Johnny Ace, DDP, everybody else who did a cutter.
Right. Yeah. I was gonna say, are we gonna see Randy Orton pass the cutter torch down to Riddle?
Riddle?
Yeah.
I don't know. You got KO doing the stunner now, so.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. That was almost... Yeah, the cutter, a lot of people's use that. The stunner, that was basically just Stone Cold's move, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was.
He even delivers it like Stone Cold.
Yeah.
And I remember I heard an interview one time where Stone Cold was like, "Look, kid, if you're gonna deliver it, that is he's like, that's an important move, basically. Make it count, and they're not kicking out of it." Yeah,
and you gotta sit down on it too to make it look good.
So he goes over that match. Next up, we got Jackson Riker 1-on-1 with AJ Styles. He ends up winning because he gets help from Elias. Then you get the big man come out, Omos, and that dude can move. I've never seen him run that fast.
Yeah, he got up that ramp pretty quick.
And then he basically threw Elias into the LCD board or LED board. Which, nothing came of that, but that was how that ended. Next up, we had Sheamus defeating Humberto Carrillo, but afterwards he attacks Humberto Carrillo, but Ricochet makes the save.
Was a tag team forming here?
It could be, or maybe they'll have to... I don't know. I don't know. I don't want Ricochet to be in a tag team.
Yeah, but I don't see him winning any single belts other than the United States.
No,
really.
24/7. He might win the 24/7 belt.
I
totally in with our truth. Why not?
Yeah.
Akira Tozawa he took the belt off.
That's right. Yeah, he won it last.
I was trying to think of his name. Yeah.
I couldn't think of it either.
He got rolled up for the 5,000th time.
Yeah, he's the most winningest 24/7 champion. Our truth is. So
this isn't like an official title. It was he's the most decorated champion of all time.
Of all time, it's like 50-something wins.
The main anybody's trying to pin him out in public yet, like any fans. You know what I mean? Like Akira, like he's just randomly walking out of McDonald's. The guy comes by and tries to roll him up, like as a joke or something.
Gets his lights knocked out.
Schoolboy!
So up next was the main event, and it was probably AJ's favorite moment of the night because it had Shayna and Nia Jax in it to challenge for there was their rematch for the women's tag team championships. However, due to somewhat of a distraction because Reggie almost pulled a Jeff Hardy pyro incident.
Sommelier.
Yeah.
Sommelier.
So Natalya and Tamina end up going over due to that distraction, retain their championships, and Raw goes off the air with Shayna threatening Reggie and telling him that they're going to go and have a match next week. And that was the end of Monday Night Raw, your premiere show for WWE. You end it this way.
With a terrible comedy / Nia Jax angle. I hated it so much.
Enough said. This is why I am not very happy about watching Raw right now. So things like that.
I put it off until 11 o'clock last night.
Yeah. I will say, I think here lately, I've been hearing a lot more promotion for SmackDown and Fox.
Yeah. Well, I will say though, Xavier Woods is so underrated. It makes me sad. He's so good in the ring.
I love watching him in the ring.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
And this was a good match too. Was
it something about Nia Jax? Was it something about
we were talking about SmackDown and Fox.
About your mama's kitchen.
No, what I heard was Fox was pushing SmackDown to go back earlier in front of fans than USA was. Than USA was on Raw, you know what I mean? Versus like Fox was pushing more than USA was about everybody going back in front of fans earlier. So might have something to do with it. So, all right, well, that's how Raw went off. So I'm excited to hear about NXT. I told the boys before we started here, I did not get to see the last hour of NXT. I think the last thing I saw was $1 Million Man and Cameron Grimes. To the moon. That was the last thing I saw, so I did not see how this thing shook out, and I did not see any spoilers or anything, so I wasn't on social media much today. So, all right, Primo, NXT.
Let's get it done. Last one. Promo package. They opened up the show with a promo package. We all knew it was going to happen. Cross versus Balor 2. First of all, I want to say they open up with this promo package, right? And which is a good promo package.
It was. Yeah.
And then afterwards, they do the zoom out off of this awesome, almost looks like a boxing graphic.
Yeah.
The big 2 in Balor and Cross.
Yeah.
Why don't they put this effort into the main shows?
I know.
Like this small stuff I enjoy so much.
Like, it made it seem way more important. I mean, it is an important match. I mean, this is a big match.
But it made me get invested more.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And that's the kind of stuff that I don't think the main shows are even,
attempting.
Anyway, moving on.
Right now.
So
I got you. I feel you. Same.
Oh man! So first match of the night we have Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. They end up they have a tag team match against Raquel Gonzalez, which is the NXT Women's Champ, and Dakota Kai. But Ember Moon and Shotzi end up winning the match, but Raquel attacks Shotzi. She destroys her after the match, and Dakota holds up Ember and makes her watch. I mean, Raquel is she's being vicious, a vicious champ.
Yeah, she's turned into a bull a little bit. Yeah.
Next up, we have the in-ring return of Bobby Fish. Unfortunately, his first match was against Pete Dunne, and he lost.
He lost horribly, too.
So, I got one question for you guys, though. How much fish could Bobby Fish fry if Bobby Fish could fry fish?
If it's Friday, it's probably all you can eat.
Yeah, probably. Especially out here in the Midwest, they love that.
That's where I'm from. I used to work at a restaurant when I was 16. That's what I did every Friday night.
Fish Friday everywhere.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
So, man, I like me some fried catfish. So after the match, Oney Lorcan attacks Bobby Fish, and he just basically goes off on him. And what I liked it, I didn't like that was cool. But the one part I liked about it was Pete Dunne was just like.
He always does that shrug.
Yeah,
He's like, oh, okay, well, he's like, my friend did a thing. That's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not his babysitter. Let him do what he wants to do. So, next up we had Cameron Grimes. Ted DiBiase, the $1 million face-off had been advertised since the prior week. They were talking about how, Cameron Grimes is like, look, man, I've been trying ever since, I got rich. Got the gold watch. I've been trying to do my thing, and you just keep outdoing me. And Ted's like, look, kid, I actually like you a lot. You got a good thing. I got to see a lot in you. And right about that time when he says he's looking for somebody, out comes L.A. Knight.
Sporting the yellow shades.
He is, man, looking like $1 million himself. And he talks like it, too. Yeah, let me talk to you. L.A. Knight comes out, and he gets in the ring, and they have some words there. He basically talks about how, this smuck, look at me, type situation.
Yeah.
And ends up laying out Cameron Grimes, and $1 million Ted DiBiase does his laugh. I can't. Anybody? You want to give it to me? Oh, that's actually really good. I spot on. 10 out of 10.
I'll leave it right there.
All right, so he does that, and then Ted DiBiase leaves with LA Knight. So could be his guy now.
Could be. Strap the rocket on LA Knight, baby. Let's go to the moon.
Bring back the $1 million championship.
Are you guys fans of? I heard, I didn't hear. It's not like I talked to wrestlers. I read that the WWE is thinking of bringing it back.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's got AJ talks to the writers of NXT.
That would work.
They call me.
That idea.
They call you. They know that you're one of the hosts of Sit Down Mark, so they got to give you.
Yes, they do. They're like, hey, people listen to you in Belgium, right? I better talk to you.
Yeah.
They call him AJ like we do. Like they know.
Yeah, just like that.
They know that well.
Just AJ. You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, next up, because first of all, we hadn't seen LA Knight in a while, so that was cool.
Yeah.
After that, we also have the in-ring debut. I want to say, this whole show felt almost as good as a takeover.
Yep.
That's why I was mad when I couldn't watch the last half of my show, man, because I was so invested. This was a good show in the first hour. I don't know what happened in the second hour, but I was freaking all in this one in the first hour.
So right after the $1 million face-off, we have the in-ring debut of Frankie Monet.
Mm-hmm.
She comes out,
a.k.a.
Taya Valkyrie, Miss Johnny Morrison, or Johnny Drip Drip.
Johnny Drip Drip.
I was going to say Johnny Mundo.
What did he say? What did he say on Monday? Did he say something like, welcome to the Splash Park? Or what was it?
Dang it, I don't remember.
Welcome to
he's like, you're gonna need
he did say something silly. Yeah,
he said you're gonna need because he was talking. They had these wrestlers doing, we're going back on the road. I'm going to be wrestling in front of you guys, and he said something like, I'll be back on the road wrestling with you. You're going to need a raincoat or something because
welcome to the Splash Zone.
Welcome to the Splash Zone. Yeah.
Drip Drip.
It says drip drip on the side of his head.
Okay, Johnny Drip Drip's mullet or PBJ?
PB&J? I'm going to go because PB&J doesn't have anything written in his mullet. He has no words.
He doesn't even have the racing stripes.
No! That is a baby mullet, PB&J.
No, Brian Pillman, he's got the old school Manny Fernandez Raging Bull like curly in the back, tight in
like
the front.
Like the perm mullet?
Yeah, perm, just like a spot in the back, yeah.
I'm gonna go with Johnny Drip Drip's mullet.
Johnny Drip Drip mullet.
Drip.
You can't beat that.
I love that name, though. I can't help it.
So, Frankie Monet defeats Cora Jade in the ring. Clearly, it's her in-ring debut, and she destroyed her.
What if she loses? Like her in-ring debut.
I mean, you mean like Bobby Fish losing his return?
Yeah, at least it wasn't to a roll-up or something.
Right.
Schoolboy.
After this, we have the new North American champion, Bronson Reed, in the ring.
Hang on one second, Primo. Let me talk about Frankie Monet for a second. Did you guys see at the end of the match where it was Beth Phoenix was on the panel, right? And it's like she was waiting because Frankie's finisher used to be the Glamazon's finisher. That
right.
Front face, like gourd buster,
Yeah.
So she had that move up in the air, and she hadn't even finished it yet. She hadn't even planted it yet, and Beth goes, "Oh, that looks familiar." You know what I mean? Like she was waiting, bated breath to say that.
Yeah, it's like the whole match.
Yeah. Oh, that one's familiar, and she hadn't even flattened her yet. You know, I'm like, let her get the move out. You know?
Yeah, like
or
like
say it next time. This is her debut.
It was like the first time that like Undertaker hit the tombstone, and I can't remember which announcer it was like, "Oh, he hit the tombstone," and I think it was Bobby Heenan was like, "Wait, what? What was it called?" And he's like, "I think it was Gorilla Monsoon."
Oh,
It was like, "I think it's called the tombstone," and tried to cover it up. It's like, shut up and let the match be the match. Like, come on.
Yeah. Not bad. The Bronson Reed.
No, you're good. You're good.
Bronson Reed. Johnny Drip Drip.
Which makes me think of you talking about the tombstone. Makes me think of El Phantasmo. The way he pins people right now. He's doing Undertaker pin.
Yeah, he's doing the Undertaker pin. He's gyrating to the ring like he's ripping everybody off, but at least he's ripping everybody off, like everybody together. Like
he's showing no favoritism. He's giving everybody.
He's across the board.
He's warming up the band, super kicking, like yeah.
All right, so Colossal Bronson Reed talks about how all his hard work is paid off, and how he basically, wants to be a symbol that kids can look up to, that shows, you work hard, you can eventually become a champion just like he did. But then he says everybody in the locker room has a colossal mountain to climb if they ever want to take the belt off of him. Well, right after he says that, out comes Legado del Fantasma.
Mm-hmm.
Escobar says, after that championship match, the North American title caught his eye. Says it represents USA and Mexico, so it technically belongs to him because he was born a champion and he's the Emperor of Lucha. The funniest thing about that is what's his name? DJZ. He goes, "What about Canada?" Escobar goes, "They don't count."
We have been a third of the continent.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh my god.
So that's what he basically lays claim to, the title that Bronson Reed's holding. And as Legado del Fantasma begins to circle the ring, as they're going to strike on him, Shield style, MSK comes out, and they make the save. Everybody scatters. MSK and Bronson Reed are standing tall. Legado runs with their tail tucked between their legs.
Okay.
Next up, we have...
This is where I got cut off, right here. This is where I got cut off.
Well, there's 2 things left. That's because the Cross and Balor match is really long.
Yes, it is.
So next up, William Regal announced that next week... Yeah, next week, because it was last night. Triple Threat will be... Because I'm used to... Back in the day, I was doing Wednesday, like last Wednesday, so... Yeah. William Regal announces the Triple Threat for next week's NXT main event will be Kyle O'Reilly, Cool Kyle, Pete Dunne, and Johnny Gargano to determine the number 1 contender for the NXT Championship, and the winner will face the champion at NXT TakeOver in your house. So not only did they announce the number 1 contender match, but they also announced the next NXT TakeOver, which is in your house. So that's like I like that little throwback there.
Yeah, so that's cool.
which I don't really like that he did that, or that they even announced that match, because you're telling me that, so basically they need a number one contender. Yep. So you're telling me Finn Balor's going to lose.
You're going to lose, yeah. Kind of choreographed the finish of the match a little bit.
I don't know how the match ended, but I never liked when they do that.
No.
Because if Cross loses, he gets a rematch.
Yeah, he's the number one contender.
Yeah, because let's talk about this. How many times in wrestling have they booked any promotion company, whatever, have they booked a big match, right? Say for a pay-per-view. And then 2 nights or a week before that, they book another championship match with somebody else. And you're like, you know that guy ain't winning that because they're already booking this other one like big time.
Exactly.
Like you can't sell me on that. Like suspend belief. It's terrible booking. Like I hate that. Like I'm going to fast forward through that match because I know that they're not going to win.
They could have waited until the very end of the match and been like, and William Regal could have came out to the stage and been like, next week to determine the number one contender.
Why didn't they do it there?
And that could have closed off the show.
And if that match before the big match was ever won by that other contender, then we know that the main event's going to end up being a triple threat at the pay-per-view or whatever. You know what I mean? That's
I mean, that's when us marks become smart marks. And,
right.
As it were.
We're thinking too much, and they don't pay us to think. So
right, yeah, exactly. They don't.
Next up, we have the main event, and it was the reason you say you missed the second hour is because I think it was like 45 minutes, to be honest.
It had to have been like 40 at least.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
Right. It was a long.
Was the entrances long?
No, actually. They came back from commercial break. Finn Balor is sitting on the turnbuckle, and Cross is like finishing up his entrance.
See, I hate that. That's of wrestling entrances.
Especially like Finn's entrance, crowd interaction, you love it.
Awesome.
So, anyway, but I did think it was cool that he was just like kind of like sitting back there on the turnbuckle, waiting for Cross just to finish what he's doing. And you know how usually Cross gets up there and starts beating his chest? Yeah. Well, instead of doing that, he just because Finn Balor's back here on this turnbuckle. Okay. And he just kind of looks back at him, and then they do a face-off and just begin the match. So
did Cross wear the loincloth again?
Yeah, he wore the gladiator skirt.
Yep, the Kratos loincloth.
Yeah.
So he's sticking with it. It's not a one-time thing.
He's going to be a Spartan or whatever he is.
Okay.
Which has nothing to do with his entrance or his gimmick.
Not even a little bit, no.
No.
Anyway, so it was a long match. It was a good match. It was a grueling match. Obviously, you got Finn Balor. You got Karrion Kross.
Was it stiff?
Certain parts of it, yeah.
Okay.
But most of it was, Finn doing all his stuff. Towards the end there, the way it ended was you had Kross throw Finn onto the table, announcer's table, roll him into the ring, and just start giving him stiff shots to the back of the neck with the forearms. And Finn returns fire with the same exact thing. So, at one point, Karrion has Finn on the mat, laying face first, and just bashing him with his forearms to the back of the head.
Oh, wow.
Within seconds, Finn's doing the exact same thing to him. And then they end up exchanging a few more things, and Kross hits him with the finisher. 1, 2, 3, Kross. No. Not pinfall, I'm sorry. Kross gets him and puts him to sleep with his choke.
So Balor didn't tap. That's the way it...
No, he passed out.
Okay.
And right before that, he actually put Kross's choke on Kross.
Okay. Sorry about the echo, guys. AJ, I think he took a bathroom break and he left his earbuds laying by his microphone. So that's why you hear the echo if you do hear it. So he should be back for a second. Sorry about that. Here he comes.
So, yeah.
Sorry, that was weird.
It's okay.
So yeah, at one point Finn did have Cross in his I forget what his move is called, but he has him in the choke, and when he does, Cross starts to go out, right? And the ref does the whole grab his arm to get ready to drop it, and right whenever he goes to drop it, Cross grabs the ref by the wrist, like, and holds on, like, don't you dare. He was like, don't you dare ring that bell, because the ref was literally like gonna ring the bell. He was like that close because it looked like Cross had passed out. And then after that's whenever he reversed it, put Finn in the move, and put Finn to sleep. Prince Balor. Yes. And that is finished NXT. Cross retains the championship. Next week we'll find out the number one contender.
Okay. Interesting there. So it sounded like it was a pretty good episode. Basically, looks like I just missed that last match. So, all right. So that is the recap in the week in wrestling. So thanks for sticking with us through that. So we're going to jump right into the next thing on the docket here. It's the Pick Primo's Brain, which is kind of just where I ask Primo a question each week. So it's going to go to AJ as well. So let me show you that graphic. So I'm going to ask you guys a question, and then we'll come back after the graphic and let you guys answer it. So, all right, see if you guys can go back in your wrestling memory brain. When was the first time you seen a wrestler bleed on TV? Be right back. All right, boys, what do you think? The first time you ever saw a wrestler bleed on TV, if you can remember. Anybody?
I think one of the first times was Ric Flair when he was in WWE, so it had to have been like 90, 91, something like that.
Okay.
And the only reason I remember is because he had that like white blonde hair, and it was like bright red. That's the only.
Right.
So I want to say like Ric Flair, like 91-ish, before the Royal Rumble that he won. One of those. That was mine.
I was gonna say. If it wasn't Flair, because Flair always sticks out. Flair and Shawn Michaels always stick out in my head for being like bleeders, man.
Yeah.
But it was probably for me. It had to be because I started watching in early Attitude Era. It's probably Mankind, more than likely.
Yeah.
For me, it was probably Mick Foley. He was bleeding all the time. So.
Right. For me,
right now,
I'm going to go way back. For me, the first time I saw a wrestler bleed, I'll say this, was even before Flair. Abdullah the Butcher. This dude, his head just straight up.
Oh yeah,
he used to get his head so
the
much.
stars and the dents in his head.
Yeah.
Look like that's how Devon's head looks.
Yeah. All the blading. Yeah, so it was the first time I seen him. So Undead Lumberjack said it has to be Flair, which is a lot of people.
That's when you see Flair in that whitish blonde hair, just all red.
Yeah.
And then Shawn definitely always has like the literal crimson mask.
Yeah, Shawn, it was like it was always pouring out of his long hair, like it was his thing, you know.
Gross.
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
All right, guys, we are up to our Dropkick discussion of the week. We're going to take a quick little 1 minute break here, but today we are talking about our top 5 favorite managers or valets. So we're going to take a quick little break here. I'm going to let you guys look at the graphic. We'll be back here in just about a minute. So hang tight. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, it's Primo from Sit Down Marks. Just a quick reminder that you can now catch audio replays on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and now every Thursday on Sportinary on Free Online Sports Radio at 7:15. Now back to the Dropkick discussion of the week, top 5 managers and valets.
All right, guys, we are back. All right, here we go. Now we're going to get into the Dropkick discussion of the week. First of all, I want to thank everybody on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Sportinarium.com online radio for everybody that has downloaded the show, and we appreciate all the support. All right, so let's talk our top 5 managers of valets. So quick little let's go to this real quick. This is just our top 5 favorite manager of valets. Now, these are the managers and valets that would cheat to help their heel or face person win. You know, they would get in the way and take bumps sometimes. You know, they would make you hate. You know, the managers would make you hate their heel wrestlers that they were with, or love their babyface wrestlers that they were with. So, your top 5 favorites. So, we're going to go from 5 to 1. And then I got a little list of some that don't end up making the list. You just made the list, AJ.
You just made the list.
All right, here we go. Oh, touche. All right. Here we go. All right.
And if you have a manager or valet that you want to mention in the chat, feel free to do so.
Yeah, man. As we start top 5 here, let us know what you think in the chat.
Also, Dirty, before we begin, I not only did I make my top 5, but look at this. We got Dirty's top 5 right there. I made a little guessy guess to see how accurate. I mean, we've known each other a long time, so
okay, yeah.
See how close I am. I'm guessing 2 out of 5. Nope.
Okay.
3 out of 5.
Yeah, 3 is probably safe. All right, right off the bat, Undead Lumberjack comes in with Jimmy Hart at number 5. So, all right, so as soon as we get done with this, I'll go back and we'll compare with what AJ got with me and see how it is. So, who wants to start us off, man? Top 5. Start at 5.
I'll start off.
All right, Primo.
Unless you just want to go, AJ, that's fine. But I will start. It doesn't matter if you want to start.
I about choked on my rowdy right here.
First off, I have an honorable mention. My honorable mention, she did not make my top 5.
Okay.
She was a valet for Savio Vega. She was also a member of Team Extreme.
EC dope.
And her name is Lita.
Lita.
She's an honorable mention. She didn't make my top 5.
I would put her on your top 5 had I made a list for you as well.
My top 5, though, number 5 does start out with, let me holler at you, player, Teddy Long. He started out as a referee.
Yep.
And after that, he managed a ton of wrestlers in Jim Crockett Promotions, WCW, went on to manage people like D'Lo Brown, Rodney Mack, Mark Henry, Jazz, went on to become, and then afterwards he went on to become one of the best GMs in history of WWE. My number 5 is
a tag team
match.
Yep.
The Undertaker.
Undertaker.
So my number 5 is Teddy Long.
All right, AJ, number 5.
So I also have an honorable mention. He would have maybe made the top 5 if I had more exposure to him. Not much though. It is Colonel Robert Parker. He was the like Southern dandy fop. You know, like the leghorn kind of guy.
Yep, he looked like he had the Colonel Sanders suit on.
Yeah, like the white suit.
Always you love seeing this guy get the crap beat out of him. He was that good.
Yep. Loved that guy. But didn't put him on the list because I didn't have that much exposure to him. However, number 5, Dirty, you'll know. That's kind of an obscure one. You'll know who it is. Primo, I hope you know who this is. The genius of glory and renown, Lanny Poffo.
Macho's brother.
Macho's brother, which they never brought up at all.
The genius.
Loved the genius. He would get into the ring and he wrote all of those little stupid poems that he would read. He had the little scroll, and he wore a mortarboard and
the graduate outfit
down. It was fantastic, and he was all weird and eccentric, and he was great though. I loved Lanny Popoff. And by the way, he should have been the one that introduced or inducted Macho Man into the Hall of Fame, not Hulk Hogan.
Totally agree.
So my number 5 is Lanny Poffo. He did a lot. He managed the Beverly Brothers, and I don't think of who. I think he was with Mr. He was with Mr. Perfect for a while. He was great.
And then he had that show of he had his own little show, kind of like Piper's Pit. It was something like that. So All right, well, I'm going to start with my number 5. You know, I come from the Deep South wrestling, you know, of NWA, WCW, all that kind of stuff. Look, I got a ton of honorable mentions, you know, and I'm going to just read them off at the end if none of these are on anybody's list. So, all right, let me preface this with saying first that any selections made in my top 5 is based on wrestling only, not anything outside of wrestling, anything that Twitter has caused, anything. This is wrestling based only. So number 5 for me is the manager of the Midnight Express, Jim Cornette. He's one of the baddest heels ever. You know, you love seeing him take bumps. You know, one of my best childhood memories is seeing him fall off the scalpel in Starrcade '85 when the Road Warriors threw him off. He took a big bump. You know, he always carried this tennis racket. Yeah, it was. You know, he was synonymous with Midnight Express. You know, he talked about his mama and being the greatest thing on earth. Yep, in her kitchen. Yep. So he was great, man. He was probably, you know, I mean, Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express to me is, you know, one of the best feuds ever. But Jim made that, you know, made the heel tactics and stuff like that. So Jim made that interesting, and he made you really hate him. So, all right, Primo, number 4.
Number 4. So she is the only woman that did make my top 5. She managed the likes of Randy Savage for a time being. She managed HBK Shawn Michaels, and she managed one of my favorite tag teams of all time, Harlem Heat. That's Sherry Martel. And not only did she manage great talent, but she was a heel manager, and she loved to get her hands dirty. So, like, she'd get in there.
Mm-hmm. I thought she was smoking hot too. I thought she was so much hotter than Elizabeth. I really did. Hey, wait, hold on. Let me throw my notes. Okay, continue.
She was smoking hot like you'd love to meet her at a bar one night. You know what I mean?
Right,
yeah. And hey, but I'm gonna say this: an exception of maybe one other guy on my list, Sherry bumped, man. Sherry bumped a lot, and she sold like a mother. Probably Harlem Heat.
She got in there, and you know she would, you know, Sherry Martel, sensational Sherry. You know, she wasn't afraid to get her hands dirty.
Yep. All right, AJ, don't go next because my number 4 is sensational Sherry as well. Number 4. Number 4, AJ. All right, let's see. 5.
4, sensational Sherry.
Okay. All right.
Hey, I think that's the first time we had a 3-way tie there.
All of this, yeah.
I think that was wild. Especially at the same number.
Sensational Sherry Martel, Scary Sherry, as
Scary
people
Sherry
like to call her.
Yeah. What a great manager she was.
She was great. She could talk too. She was a good promo.
Yeah.
Like, remember that promo that she had with Ultimate Warrior when she was trying to get Macho Man a tag or a championship match, and she basically like was very suggestive and like got down on her knees in front of Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
Ultimate Warrior was just being like rah 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 because he's Ultimate Warrior.
Back when they did the promos with Mean Gene on like that podium, it looked like they were standing in the middle of the crowd. You know what I mean?
In the crowd.
Yeah.
Undead Lumberjack says he had sensational Sherry number 4 also.
All right, 4-way tie already.
4-way tie.
Oh my god.
Primo, number 3.
Number 3, you know, I'm a little bit younger than you guys, not by a whole lot, but he had to make my list. He's one of the greatest of all time. The Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. You know, he managed them all. Hulk Hogan, Hart Foundation, Ted DiBiase, Honky Tonk Man. You just keep going on that list.
Yeah. Anybody they needed made or get over, Jimmy Hart.
Right.
Andre.
Yep, they threw him in there.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't like him though because he was with I had this like aversion to Honky Tonk Man. So when he was with Honky Tonk Man, I started hating him. I was like, oh my, his voice was obnoxious.
The bullhorn.
Yeah, the megaphone. Yeah. And the thing about Jimmy too is Jimmy he bumped. He didn't bump a whole lot. Jimmy was more that annoying.
Yeah,
you know,
distraction.
Like face distraction. You know, you wanted to beat him over the face.
Like a little mat.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Primo, number 3.
That was my
AJ,
number
3. AJ.
So number 3 for me, he only ever managed 1, maybe 2 that I can remember. Bill Moody, a.k.a. Percy Pringle, a.k.a. Paul Bearer.
Nice. Good one, man.
I was terrified of Paul Bearer when I was a kid. That was fantastic.
Third impression was worse. Second one's worse. Why are you throwing your list, Primo?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
Keep going.
Paul Bearer was great. Like, he had like the contorted facial features. He had that creepy high pitched voice.
Yearn like,
yes. He was just great, and he was of course with the Undertaker, and he did manage Kane for a while.
Yeah.
And so that was during their whole feud, and he was just the best. He was, because Undertaker at first was with who's the super red faced guy?
Buddy Love. Brother Love. Yeah.
Brother Love. That was such a weird pairing, and it like didn't make any sense. But then when he got Paul Bearer, it was like, okay, now this guy's like legit.
Yeah, made more sense. I didn't put Paul on my list just because he's freaking legendary, absolutely. But he just he was just kind of his almost like dad figure kind of. He didn't bump too much, nothing like that. So,
no, he didn't.
Yeah,
got in the coffin once or twice.
Brother Love, what's his real name? Bruce
Pritchard.
Pritchard, thank you.
Bruce
All
Pritchard,
right.
yeah.
Undead Lumberjack, number 3, Paul Heyman. Pretty good.
Paul Heyman.
Not on my list, but definitely in there. All right, so me, number 3, this is where my NWA comes into play. For me, number 3, he was the legendary manager of the Four Horsemen. So these guys right here. So my number 3, J.J. Dillon, the manager of the Four Horsemen. He led them. He talked, good. He always cut business deals. He would bring them back when they need to be brought back. He would sick them on the baby faces. So for me, it's J.J. Dillon, man, because Four Horsemen is like a big part of my wrestling childhood, and J.J. Dillon was right there with him. He was basically the only manager ever, really. So the only one kind of legit enough to me, I think, to kind of fit in that group. So for me, number 3, J.J. Dillon. Primo, number 2.
Number 2 for me was none other than Paul Bearer.
Okay.
But I actually do have one thing. He actually did manage 3 people that I know of, which the third one he did manage Mankind also. But
I forgot about that too.
For all the same reasons as AJ said, there's not much more we need to cover on that. AJ said everything perfectly about Paul Bearer. I specifically remember whenever it was after the Survivor Series where American badass Undertaker got buried alive by Kane, then he came back at WrestleMania 20, and then you just heard the voice come over to introduce the dead man back. So, yeah, Paul Bearer for sure. He's my number 2.
Okay, AJ.
So number 2 is the same as Undead Lumberjacks number 3, and that would be Mr. Paul Heyman.
Okay.
I just think he's one of the best talkers in the history of the entire business. And like when you have someone like Brock Lesnar who is just it has everything except being able to Lesnar.
Yeah.
When you have someone like Brock Lesnar, like all you need is someone like. This is why Paul Heyman is a necessity in this business, because he spoke for Brock. Like he kind of speaks for Roman, but not really. But he's basically just the best hype man ever. And plus, in ECW. Like, he wasn't a manager, obviously he was the owner, but he cut some of the best promos ever, and I love Paul Heyman. I think he has one of the best wrestling minds in the business, so that's why he is my number 2.
And he doesn't speak for Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns lets him speak.
Lets him speak, right? Yeah. Allows him to speak.
Even better.
All right, guys. My number 2, this is the last woman on my list. You know, probably the most famous woman, valet in wrestling history. You know, it's Miss Elizabeth, man, with the macho. You know, she didn't have to talk. You know, I mean, she got it done out there in the ring when she needed to. We loved her. I don't remember ever really hating her ever. You know what I mean? Like, it was like I almost was always scared that she would get hurt or, you know, or something like that. But, man, but for me, what sticks is the storylines that Elizabeth was involved in wrestling that have stood the test of time.
They're all legendary.
Right, yeah, they're all legendary. So, for me, I had to have her in my top 2. So, Miss Elizabeth, number 2. All right, Primo, started. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Really quick with Miss Elizabeth, I think you kind of nailed her, like, main appeal is that, like, she was like a deer in the headlights all the time. Which,
sure.
Like, you just kind of wanted to, like, be protective of her the whole time. But, yeah, okay, sorry. That's my little interjection.
All right, Primo, so start at number 5 and go all the way to 1 here with your top 5.
5 to 1, my top 5 favorite managers / valets of all time. Number 5, Theodore Long, Tay Long. Number 4, Sherry Martel, Sensational Sherry. 3, Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Number 2, Paul Bearer. And number 1, I almost just said it. Paul Heyman, you can't see that, but Paul Heyman, or Paul E. Dangerously, whatever you want to call him, manages Roman Reigns. Actually, I'm sorry. He's currently Roman Reigns' special counsel.
Right.
He was the advocate for Brock Lesnar. He managed CM Punk, Big Show, Mean Mark Callis, which is The Undertaker. Mm-hmm. Also, the Dangerous Alliance. You can't forget about that.
Yep.
He is, for exactly what AJ just said, what he does on the mic is bar none. Like, it's amazing. And even I find myself every now and then I'll catch a highlight of like talking smack or something. And if he's on there talking to a wrestler, I'm glued. And like, cause he talks to him and he'll do this with any wrestler. It's almost like he's inspiring them or like coaching them all in one talk, but still telling them that Roman's better than them at the same time.
Right.
But no, he's great, and he's done. I mean, he's been a manager my entire time that I've been watching wrestling, so he had to be my number 1.
Got it.
Oh, you can't forget ECW, of course.
Worm Rider said, y'all didn't say, excuse me. Well, Vicky G.
That's true.
All right, AJ, who you got? Number 1.
So number 5, I had the genius Lanny Poffo. Number 4 was sensational Sherry Martel. Number 3, Paul Bearer. Number 2, Paul Heyman. And number 1, this right when you announced this category, boom, number 1, Bobby the Brain Heenan. Without question, jumped right into my mind. I'm like, he's my favorite of all time.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Not only did he have the best heels in his stable all ever, he was so good at talking. He was so funny and so sharp, and like he could put over whoever he wanted just by being him. He got in the ring. He did some bumps. He fought the Red Rooster once, which was just amazing.
Yeah, we've seen this guy get stripped down to his underwear before. Like
like a woman to try to break back into main role.
Yeah. We love seeing Heenan is my number 1 as well. We love seeing him get beat up probably more than any manager ever.
Yeah,
like when he took a bump, like you were like, oh yeah, get him, like like yeah. So for me, 5 Jim Cornette, 4 Sensational Sherry, 3 J.J. Dillon, 2 Elizabeth, 1 Bobby the Brain Heenan. All right, guys, let me throw out some here real quick that we might have forgot about or didn't. Paul Ellering, the Road Warriors. Sonny,
Yep, Road Warriors.
She's been spoken about tonight.
She farted.
Mr. Fuji.
Mr. Fuji!
How
He
about-
was traded down, though.
Yeah. How about Captain Lou Albano? How about Gary
I remember
Hart?
him mainly.
Don't say
Gary
from
Hart.
the Girls Just Want to Have Fun video.
I was gonna say from the Goonies Are Good Enough video.
Oh man! All right, and then also Brother Love, Slick, Baby Doll. You guys remember Baby Doll with Dusty and the Forestman?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she went through all that. And then last but not least, you guys might not even know, but Paul Jones. He was the manager of
Joe.
Pistol Pez Watley, Baron Von Roski, Barbarian. He was manager.
The Barbarian.
Yeah, Dutch Mantel. Yeah, there's another one too. Same state along those lines.
I was just about to say Dutch Mantel, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Who was also
People.
All right, so that is our Dropkick discussion. That was interesting, boys. That was fun.
So do you wanna
Yes.
hear who I did I guessed for your top 5? I got 3 right.
Okay.
So number 5, I thought you were going to put Paul Bearer. Number 4, I thought you were going to put Freddie Blassie. I thought you were going to include in there.
That's good.
Number 3, I nailed J.J. Dillon.
Sure.
Number 2, Jim Cornette. Number 1, Bobby Heenan. That's who I thought. So that's 3 out of 5. Yeah.
Very nice.
bad.
Way to pigeonhole me, AJ. I'm just kidding.
You're welcome. I'll do it again.
All right, let's roll down through the next rumors and stuff we're going to talk about here, and then we're going to quickly go over the AEW Double or Nothing card, and then we're going to take this thing home. So, did anybody watch the Ultimate Warrior A&E biography?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I did too. It was good, kind of normal story. Saw a little bit of Dana, her kind of involvement and everything that went on. So, what'd you guys think?
I've also heard that she may not have liked it.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, I read that too.
So she didn't get to see the
There
final
wasn't-
cut then, I guess.
There wasn't a lot of new information
Same.
that you didn't already know about Ultimate Warrior. Like, he was kind of a prick backstage, and well, not a prick. He didn't care about the business. He just wanted, the money, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
So I thought it was good, but no.
Oh, my mistake. It was not the A&E one. And is this a coincidence, by the way, that the fact that Sunday night we have the A&E special, and this Thursday we have Dark Side of the Ring Ultimate Warrior?
Yeah. Yeah.
But Dana Warrior,
Go ahead.
she called the Dark Side of the Ring special Smut and Filth.
Oh.
Smut and filth.
Yeah, because they're not portraying the happy side. So, all right, Collision in Korea was the Dark Side of the Ring this week. I think Primo was the only one that got to watch it. Man, was it good?
It is good. I thought
story
it
is
was
really
insane, man. So
Yeah.
basically, for anybody that hasn't seen Collision in Korea or doesn't know about the story, at the time, Eric Bischoff was rekindling the relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and they basically came into an agreement with Antonio Inoki, who came up with this idea that they'll have this joint wrestling promotion in North Korea. They'll have Antonio Inoki, who over in Japan was like bigger than Hulk Hogan probably, and they all get on a plane, and plus Muhammad Ali was with them too. Which I think actually helped them a little bit, to be honest. But to promote everything, and Eric Bischoff also did it without permission from the top execs. He says in the documentary anyway. North Korea provides a plane for them to fly over there with, and when that happens, they realize it's like a military cargo type jet or cargo plane. Puddle jumper, and they quickly realize that this is not going to be very fun. They're going to be over there for like 4 to 6 days, I believe. And so we basically they get to North Korea, and immediately their passports and any American technology, because like a Walkman or anything like that, was immediately confiscated. Their passports were confiscated right as soon as they got off.
Yeah.
They're surrounded by armed North Korean military.
But don't spoil how it ends, but just kind of,
Yeah, so basically, it's almost like they're in prison the whole time.
Yeah, they're being held. Yeah, it was a hairy situation.
Crazy.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it.
Long story short, North Korea hates Americans, and Scott Norton tells a great story about it.
Yep, Scott Norton tells a great story about it. Probably the story of it all. But yeah, there's also a podcast, 83 Weeks, Eric Bischoff, where he talks about it. It's really interesting. So Sunday is Mick Foley biography.
Yes,
I'm looking forward to that.
So that'd be good. Yep. Wrestling promotions. Yeah, it'd probably ruin it then. Well, I mean, if you kind of know the story, but I always end up watching this stuff because I like to see the little tidbits they get from the wrestlers talking about what happened or whatever. I mean, it's like we all know the story already, but we're probably going to watch it, just because.
I'm absolutely going to
Mrs. Foley's baby boy.
Yeah. All right, so wrestling looks like is opening up here soon to all fans. Thank you, world. Pandemic,
I move away from my home state, born and raised in Texas, and now all the wrestling events are in Texas.
Yep.
Oh yeah, they're
all going to be in Texas and Florida. Like that's where all of them are going to be.
They are Money in the Bank is going to be in Fort Worth, right? Is that what I've seen?
I'm not sure. There's definitely an event there.
Houston? Was it Houston?
Yeah, maybe I think so. Yeah, anyway, they're doing something running there. So I was trying to think, because I just watched it today. Yeah, it's somewhere in. There's a lot of wrestling going on in Texas. So.
AEW is going to go nationwide, though.
Yes, they are going.
Yeah, they're in Fort Worth, by the way.
Okay, good.
In Fort Worth.
Good deal. All right, guys, one last time, I want to thank everybody listening on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Sportinarium.com online radio. We can't thank you guys for enough for downloading and checking us out here. So also to Rowdy, we are sipping up our last little sips of Rowdy here, so it must be getting close to the end of the show. And also thank you to Coastland Apparel. Use promo code BIRDTV, BIRDTV, for 15% off. All right, guys, let's talk about we talked about earlier in the show, we lost New Jack, ECW wrestler, so
not a good I wasn't laughing at that, by the way. I laughed right when you said we lost New Jack.
Yeah.
I was laughing at AJ's placement of his Coastland hat. I did just now, so
oh yeah, right over in the corner, like, perfectly placed. Yeah, but yeah, we talked about New Jack earlier, and but another thing too, we'll talk about. What do you guys think about Charlotte's kind of character evolution right now? It's a little, different. Yeah.
It's like super mega heel,
Red Queen. Like she's wearing like her outfit's like the Red Queen, like off with his head.
Yeah. It's like she should have little hearts like
hearts,
Queen of Hearts. Yes. Yeah. I don't know. I think Natalie might not like that.
I think it'd be funny. That'd be fine.
All right, AJ, we got AEW Double or Nothing on Sunday. Run down the card really fast. We're getting to the end here, so just kind of tell us what the card is here.
So this card is good. This show is going to be fantastic. It's in front of a live audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Casino Battle Royale, which has 55 people in it. Winner gets a shot at, I believe, the AEW title, I want to say. Hangman Adam Page versus Brian Cage. That should be an interesting match. The match that terrifies me, Sting and Darby Allin versus Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. Sting taking bumps. I don't want to see it. Up next is American Dream, Cody Rhodes versus Anthony Ogogo. And then
I'm just excited to see how Cody comes out.
I am too. Like that's basically. I want him to come out in polka dots, just to be extra ridiculous. Come out in polka dots. I mean, I know that's not American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, but polka dots. Yay! And then for the TNT Championship, Miro versus Lance Archer. Then Hikaru Shida versus Dr. Britt Baker. for the AEW Women's World Championship. And Britt Baker's winning that one without question.
I think so. Let's get that bell on a heel.
Yeah. It's always so much better on a heel. And then Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley versus the Young Bucks for the tag team titles.
Young Bucks.
I think the Young Bucks retain. Like, I don't think they're gonna. They shouldn't lose those belts for a long time.
Yeah, it ain't time yet.
And then the Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle for the Stadium Stampede match that they say is not going to be a comedy fest this time. It's going to be an actual match.
That's going to be a fight, I think. They're going to put on a show. I'm interested to see how much Jericho is going to be involved with the elbow
elbow.
Yeah.
And then finally, main event, Orange Cassidy versus the Bastard Pack versus Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship. This is going to be a great show.
Yeah, this is going to be a great show. First of all, I want to thank Undead Lumberjack 22. You have won yourself some brand new, fresh, hot off the press sit-down marks stickers here. So thank you for watching the show. Message me on Twitter or Facebook, as you see the links right there on my Twitch page. So congratulations, you have won those. So thanks for interacting with us here during the show.
I see. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, that was it.
I was gonna say. I just see Jericho doing the. Remember when Batista had the arm brace on, and he just like slowly takes it off. So I see that happening. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that.
All right. So right now, everybody, starting with AJ, rate your top 3 wrestling shows.
So AEW. NXT, can I put NXT twice? AEW, NXT, SmackDown. Anything that's not Raw, I would put Impact above Raw. Raw's at the very bottom right now.
Yep. I am AEW, NXT, Impact. That's my top 3.
I am from 3 would be NXT, number 2 would be AEW, and number 1 would be Sit Down Marks.
Well played, sir.
Very good.
Well played.
A winner is you.
Also, guys, make sure you go follow us on Twitter at SitDownMarks, SitDownMarks, for everything going on with the show. All right, quick little notes here before we end up. Will Ospreay had to vacate the IWGP Heavyweight title because of a neck injury. I hate that. I think he's one of the best wrestlers in the world right now. Yeah, we'll see, man. I don't know. We'll see. All right, let's talk about NXT releases. So I've heard Alexander Wolf is gone. He is about to hit the Indies. He was a part of Imperium.
Right.
He's going back to Germany. He has rebranded himself Axel the Axeman, which I think was his name before. So he's back in Germany.
Axel the Axeman.
I was kind of a fan of his. I thought he was a great bumper. I thought Wolf was a great bumper. But anyway, referee Drake Wirtz had been released, so it sounds like there's some people happy about that and some not. Yep. And then the biggest one probably
Deathmatch guy.
Yeah. And then probably the biggest headline notes: NXT WWE releases Velveteen Dream.
Velveteen Dream with his backstage shenanigans and actually thinking that he is his character, which is never a good idea when you're, in NXT and not Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels can get away with it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap up the show for today, episode number 11 of Sit Down Marks. I want to thank everybody across all the platforms for listening, man. Can't thank you guys enough. Right here on Twitch TV /DirtyBird33. Thank you, guys. I also want to thank my co-host today, Primo and AJ. Great job, boys.
Thank you. Still the reigning Sit Down Marks pay-per-view champion. Will be put on the line in a couple months at SummerSlam. I'm sure it's not going to leave this table right here, but I will put it on the line.
That thing's coming back to the Midwest, boy. It's going to look good. Right over here somewhere where you can see it. And I'm going to talk about it every day, just like
every day. I mean, as you should.
Right. All right, guys. But once again,
where am I
thank
gonna put it? I
everybody
don't live here.
across all our platforms. Also, sportanarium.com online radio. We are live Thursdays at 7:15, right after the Thomas Bryce show. So thank you guys so much, and we'll be live on Thursday night. So thank you. All right, next week, episode number 12, we'll be coming back. We're going to talk about Double or Nothing, what happened there, our Dropkick discussion of the week will be top 5 wrestling cities. Now, this will pertain to fans, basically, who's got the rowdiest and most dedicated fans, so to speak. So that will be fun. We'll probably have a guest on here again in a couple of weeks. So I'm the Dirty Bird Man once again. If you are interested in any sit-down marks, stickers, man, we are giving these away free. Message me on Twitter or Facebook, name and address, man. I'll get those out to you. Also, one last thing, this just come in. Wanted to show you guys this Pro Wrestling Illustrated, brand new, just came out. For everybody listening, not watching, it's a caricature of Kenny Omega, Bobby Lashley, Macchioto, and Leo Rush on the front. 4 of the sport's hottest stars tell all. So this is a pretty good magazine. It's got a big write-up in here about RJ City. There's a big write-up in here about indie wrestling, Bobby Lashley. Small thing in here about Bailey. The only thing I've read so far is the hot seat with Kenny Omega, and this is good. This is good. He talks about Japan, the Impact relationship, the Okada matches. So and then his relationship with AEW. So this is a brand new one out. I think it hit. I get it, and it usually hits the newsstands about 2 or 3 weeks later. So I feel like I've already usually read it by the time they announce that it's out on newsstands. So yeah, good magazine there. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it, Primo. Appreciate it, AJ.
Thank you. Next time.
Next time. Right here, man. It's gonna be
All
fun.
right, boys.
See you guys later.
In your mom's kitchen.
In your mama's kitchen.
In your mama's kitchen.
Making them biscuits.